All right, we live. Shalom, Israel. And the water for watching. And shout out to all the brothers out there in ISBHBK San Antonio that are in class and also online. ISBHBK Houston, Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, New York, Rochester, New York. Shalom to Cabo Cab in Guatemala, and all the brothers scattered in California, London. I know the viewership has been increasing, so shout out to all those that are watching online. You know, continue. Hopefully, we edifying the body of Christ. That's what it's about, and raising up the nation, the so-called Negroes, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians, all Jamaicans, West Indians, Argentinians, Brazilians, Chileans, and Mexicans scattered throughout North, Central, and South America. Shalom to you. You are the lost sheep of the house of Israel, in whom Christ died. Real quick, just go there and go to Romans chapter 9, verse 1 real fast.
Yes, sir.
Just to start this off. And shalom to all the children of Israel out there, waking up to their identity, their nationality, who they are as a people before the last days and before the last trump sound, as we get closer to the end of this particular kingdom. All right, so let's go ahead and get that Romans chapter 9, verse 1 real quick.
Romans chapter 9, verse 1. I say the truth in Christ. I lie not.
Read on.
My conscience also bearing me witness.
This is Paul speaking. Read on.
My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit.
Read on.
That I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart.
Paul said he's heartbroken. He has great heaviness and continual sorrow. If he can put the phones on silent, put them on vibrate, myself included. He said great heaviness and continual sorrow for my heart. Go ahead.
For I could wish that myself were accursed.
He said, Paul says that he wishes that he could take the position that Christ was in as far as being crucified on the cross, being a sacrifice for his people. He says, for I wish that myself was accursed. Right? Read on.
From Christ.
Go ahead.
For my brethren.
For who?
My brethren.
He says, I wish that I was on that cross for my brethren. Who else?
My kinsmen.
He calls his brother his kinsman, his kinfolk. Go ahead.
According to the flesh.
According to the what?
According to the flesh.
Not according to being a spiritual Israelite or a spiritual Jew or being grafted in. He said according to the flesh. He's talking about his bloodline, his genealogy. Read on.
Who are Israelites.
And who is Paul's genealogy?
Israelites.
And what does Paul care? What is it to him about his genealogy, his kinsfolk and his people? Read on.
To whom pertaineth the adoption.
He says these are the ones that will be adopted back to the Father. Read on.
And the glory.
These are the ones that receive the glory, which is the kingdom of the Most High. Go ahead.
And the covenant.
The covenants, the laws, the contracts and the agreements, the statutes and the rules that the Most High gave to Moses. He says they were intended for who? For his brethren, the Israelites. Read on.
And the giving of the law.
The giving of the law. Read on.
And the service of the Most High.
He says these were the ones that were designated on earth to do the service of the Most High. That's why it's important and pertinent that we reach our people, because you were chosen to do the service of the Most High. Read on.
And the promises.
And the promises that were made to Abraham of an everlasting kingdom was given to you. Read on.
Whose are the fathers.
Read on.
And of whom, as concerning the flesh.
And when you read this book, you read about the history of our forefathers. Read on.
Concerning the flesh, Christ came.
And Christ came for who? For these individuals, hey, for the Israelites.
I'm trying
Stan,
to talk.
come on, bro.
Bro, you got to cut it on silent, bro.
I did. I'm trying to tell them I'm in class.
Go ahead, you got to step out. You step to the side for a second.
Please.
All right, he says who or what?
And of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came.
Right, so Christ came for who? The Israelites, the children of Israel. Paul made it real clear. So this message is for you. We're trying to gather our people together before the last day ends. We know we're in the last days. We know that it's almost that time before the Most High makes his appearance, or sends Christ to make his appearance on earth with the holy angels. So we want to get right as much as possible. But in this process of getting ourselves together, sometimes we need motivation. We need motivation, and that's what this class is about.
That's a hard thing to maintain, because the Most High requires so much out of a person. Sometimes we go through waxing and waning, like, you know.
Ebbs and flows.
The ebbs and flows of drive.
Yeah.
So this type of class is necessary, because it's easy when you feel like you're on top of the world.
Yeah, when you had a good night rest, and your body's you know, fully rested and you feel great,
Yeah.
you know, and everything's going good. Yeah, you know, you're in the moment and you're in the mood, you know, to be productive. But not all the time are people in a situation where they feel like fighting and they feel like giving. And so that's why this is a part two, a continuation of the principles of motivation and what it takes to actually gather up that desire to push forward and to motivate yourself, to pull yourself out of any stronghold or any setback that you've been involved in for this last so many years or months or whatever it is that's ailing you mentally, emotionally, you know, physically, whatever it is that's ailing you, to help you pull yourself out of those ruts.
No, revisiting the last time we taught this class, remember we went through certain stages. One stage was faith.
Yeah, faith was the first stage. Just to recap, let's go to James chapter 2, verse 20. Just a quick recap on that. One of those steps was faith. We went to James chapter 2, verse 20. Anybody got it?
Yeah, James chapter 2, verse 20.
You got it? Come to the. Yeah, there you go. The water.
Maybe right.
Go ahead.
James chapter 2, verse 20. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
So last couple weeks ago when we did the part one, we were learning that the Most High required faith to do anything. You got to believe in the Most High to do anything. That's the first primary element needed in order to be motivated, is you got to believe in the Most High, and the Most High exists. You got to believe in Him and the fact that He can help you and that He exists and He's real. He's a power that you can tap into. He says that faith without what?
Without works is dead.
Is what?
Dead.
Go ahead.
Verse 21.
No, read verse 26 now. Jump down to 26 just to hit this point up. Read on.
James chapter 2, verse 26. It says, for as the body without the spirit is dead.
It says, as the body without the spirit is what?
Dead.
So the minute your spirit leaves your body is what?
Dead.
Meaning that they're inseparable. They need in order to exist, they have to be together. The body needs the spirit to exist. Read on.
So faith without works is dead also.
So just like faith, if you don't have works, if you don't have actions behind your faith, then your faith is dead by itself. Being alone, it's useless. It's futile. So it does you no good. So he's showing that last week we're going into the need of what it means to have faith in order to get up and believe or do something. You have to have faith in the Most High that He's there. You know, that the Most High, I'm not doing this by myself.
And you anchored it with a concept of this man was 500 pounds. True story. He ended up losing the weight and ended up running marathons.
Yeah, he was 500 pounds. He had all kind of heart conditions, diabetes, all kind of cardiac problems. And the doctor told him, he said, it's not a matter of when, I mean of if, it's when. You know, it's going to happen. Your heart's going to give out on you. Because he was overweight. He was already showing stages of decline, you know, vascularly. Circulatory system was failing. You know, he was falling, he was going downhill real fast. And it took him to have to finally just, you know, go against the ridicule of the kids that made fun of him. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago about how the first thing that happened, he said he couldn't stand for 10 minutes. His feet would hurt after just standing for 10 minutes of being 500 pounds. But in 3 years, he had lost, he had got down to 227 or something like that. He had lost 272 pounds or something, 278. In a 3-year span, he lost 270 something pounds. But his initial start was just walking around the neighborhood. And the kids would make fun of him walking around the neighborhood. You know, so it had to start somewhere. And also, on that note, we were talking about last week about the steps were incremental. About not despising small steps to change. Despising small beginnings and small incremental baby steps to growth. So that was something that we had went over last week about not despising that, because everything starts small, but eventually you'll start to run. Just like the guy that he did the marathon, did his first 5K marathon at 300 pounds. You know.
And then dealing with brothers, going from that story to the spirit of brothers. This time we had in Albuquerque Mountains, took brothers ran to the mountain, and brothers had to carry the brother. That was the first time he actually really fought, and the brother was crying.
Yeah, it was a breakthrough moment.
It was a breakthrough moment.
Right, that the brother was able to actually believe that he could do something beyond his strength or his thoughts would allow. He felt like he would never be able to run like that. This brother was a recovering. Well, he still had the drugs in his system.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much a recovering drug addict, but he was fresh off the drugs. You know, the drugs were still in his system. But it wasn't just that he was plagued with the drugs. He was plagued with the spirit of doubt.
God.
He was plagued with the spirit of fear. I can't overcome the situation. But just being able to run past that, pushing him past that moment when he felt like he couldn't continue, that was a breakthrough moment for him. And actually, he ran 2 miles. And after the 2 miles, for the first time ever running 2 miles, then after the while running the 2 miles, broke into a full all-out sprint at about a quarter mile straight, into a full sprint after running 2 miles. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you that once you believe, it activates something within you to push past your physical capabilities.
God.
Showing that the scripture is true when it says that the spirit of a man shall what? Shall sustain his infirmities. So as long as if you believe in what the Most High can provide you as far as assistance, and you tap into that belief, then it just shows you that whatever obstacle that may present itself in front of you can be conquered. You know, so we're talking about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, he was breaking down, he was crying. People thought.
Yeah, he thought we were actually harming the brother.
But he was crying because he was actually breaking. The spirit in him was breaking.
The flesh was breaking.
The flesh was breaking.
Mm-hmm.
That weak flesh was breaking.
You know, you know what? When it shows you also that we undermine the power of the human spirit. We don't understand how powerful the spirit is. You know, go to 1 Corinthians real quick and read 1 Corinthians chapter 1.
I need a Bible.
You need a Bible? Somebody help the brother get a Bible real quick.
I got it. Blue book, red book. Blue and red. Here you go. It's cool. Somebody announce what page we're on?
Let me get it real quick. Help the brother real quick.
1 Corinthians 1 is on page 548.
Messiah gauges our faith, then he gauges our actions, and then he gauges, no matter how impossible it is, what small incremental steps am I going to go into to move forward in the endeavor.
It's 1 Corinthians chapter 2.
God.
Start at verse 11.
1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11.
Read that.
It says, for what man knoweth the things of a man?
It says, for what man knoweth the things of what?
A man.
Now we've been over this topic about how, of course, within a person, there's two aspects of you. There's a flesh and there's a spirit. But we don't know the value or the potential or the power of either one. You know, there's movies about how, there's a movie called Unbreakable. You know, it's about the brother the Edomite dude that was captured during World War II by the Japanese, and they did everything to break his will. And the whole movie was about these attempts of this Japanese general crushing this man's spirit, demoralizing this man. And this man refused to be crushed. He refused to have his will broken. It says, read it again.
It says, 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. For what man knoweth the things of a man?
It says what man really doesn't understand his full power. Man has never pushed himself to his full limits. We push ourselves to a point and then we say, I'm tired. That's about as much as I can do. We push ourselves to a point or get pushed to a point and we say, man, I ran enough. You know, that mile was too much. You know, but do you really know what you're capable of? They got, even for children that are teenagers, they have this like adolescent reading storyline narrative called I Survive series. Anybody know about that? Anybody read the I Survive series? Usually they're like middle school books. But what they are is the I Survive series. You can write it down, read it later, look at it later. What these I Survive series books are, these are books about kids in particular, from a kid standpoint, from a children's standpoint, who had undergone volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, storms, tornadoes, and it was written from a perspective of a child. These are true stories. This I Survive series. These are true stories about children who were trapped in a situation where their life was at stake, but they show you from a child's perspective how they didn't give up, how they didn't quit. You read about the one series in particular was the tsunami in Japan in Fukushima. When that tsunami came in, it was I don't know if it was an 11-year-old boy or girl, I can't remember, but the little boy was in the car with his parents, and as the water came in over the walls, the retainer wall in Japan, they're driving at about 60 miles an hour, and the water is catching up to their car, and the little kid is writing about being in the back seat, looking out the back window, watching the water swallow the city, and then also catching up to him in the car. This is just one of the series. This is one of the books. And as the water catches him, it tumbles the car, and all the family members are ripped out of the car. All the family members are ripped out of the car. The parents are ripped out. The brothers and sisters are ripped out of the car, and that little boy or girl was ripped out of the car. And then the water was cold. You know, it's Japanese ocean water. The water was cold, and then the little boy woke up floating on some broken wood. And then the story just begins at that point about what it took to overcome that tragedy. So, and from every point, from being swallowed by the car to the fight for survival, even when they saw the little boy saw his little brother floating, and then grabbed his little brother floating also. But read that one more time.
1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. It says, "For what man knoweth the things of a man?"
It says, what we don't understand is what the Most High created when He made us. We underestimate the power of the human will. We underestimate the power of the spirit that the Most High put in us. Because you know what? We didn't create it. So we really don't know its potential. We don't know what it means to really unlock your true potential in your spirit. We've been pushed to a limit where we quit, where we give up. But we have rarely been to a point to really understand how far we really can go. You know, we don't really understand that. You know, so read on.
It says, "Save the spirit."
Save the what?
Save the spirit.
Go ahead.
Of man.
Save the spirit of man. Do you know how potent your spirit is? Do you know how powerful your spirit really is? Save the spirit of man. Read.
Which is in him.
Go ahead.
Even so, the things of the Most High knoweth no man.
And we don't know what the Most High gave us when He gave us the spirit. Because whose spirit is it?
It's the Most High.
It's the Most High spirit. The spirit is lent to us. The spirit is borrowed from the Most High. But we don't really know the power of it. We underestimate the power because we dictate based upon our own opinion. I've done too much. Man, I've been outside all day. Man, I had a long day. I've been ripping and running all day. I'm tired. This is about as far. I've reached my limit. That's about as far as I can go. I've read for 30 minutes. Man, I'm done. My goose is cooked. Man, I worked an 8-hour shift. I'm done. We're always the one dictating what the spirit can do. But you'd be surprised when you allow your spirit to be pushed past its comfort zone. And that's what it takes sometimes to overcome certain setbacks in your life and to overcome certain setbacks of motivation. You got to get pushed out of your comfort. And that's what the fat man, the overweight man was saying, the 500-pound man. He was talking about he just had to start doing something to come out of himself.
So the weight was just a barrier. The addiction, the brother was addicted to drugs and had to fight his flesh. That's just another barrier. People have different barriers they're fighting against.
Read this right here, just on another note of that. This is just another man that was over 500 pounds. Read this right here.
Blue Island,
Illinois.
A suburban man trapped in his home for years turned his defeat into triumph.
It says a suburban man trapped in his home for what?
For years.
Meaning he was too big to even get out of his house. Read on.
Turned his defeat into triumph.
Go ahead.
His story, while difficult, is an an inspiration for people.
It's a what?
An inspiration for people.
That's why when you really go at yourself and you really unlock your potential of what the Most High created in you, and you let you tap into that untapped resource, you become a what?
Inspiration.
Inspiration to people. But a lot of us don't become an inspiration for people because we're too busy controlling how far I think I can be pushed, or how far I think I can go, or I'm too busy telling myself this change is impossible, that there's no way I can overcome this setback. There's no way I can overcome this tragedy. We're too busy dictating how far and what our limits are. Read on.
It says,
Just go ahead and read down.
not just to survive another day. In 2011, Rafael Zuniga weighed over 800 pounds.
How much this man weigh?
800 pounds.
Well, that's like 3 or 4 people together.
Come on.
Go ahead.
His weight was a lifelong battle that spiraled out of control. Since then, he has lost 500 pounds.
This man went
Wow.
from 800 down to 300. How do you go from 800 pounds down to 300 pounds? From being trapped in your house because you can't get out your house. You really can't get out the bed. The only way to get out of bed, you got to do some rolling. You got to learn how to, you got to like get that weight, some momentum on that weight, and just you got to do some type of shift, some type of leg kick. You got to create a way to get out of that situation.
Come.
Even just to get to the bathroom.
Come.
A lot of times you can't make it to the bathroom.
Come.
But go ahead.
In theory, he did it by himself, but he'll tell you he wasn't alone. It was an app that got him on the path of living again.
It was a what?
App.
It was an app that got him on the path. Go ahead.
Zuniga, 45, learned how to take every day just one step at a time.
So he took from 800 down to 300 pounds. He said he took that step one step at a time. And this is what we was talking about last week, about any change that you have to make within yourself. You have to start it just one step at a time. And you have to understand this is I have to set my mind that I'm gonna set my mind in gear that I'm gonna pursue this change for however long it takes, but I'm gonna take it one day at a time. I'm not gonna go from 800 to 300 pounds in one day. That's not gonna happen. That means I have to fight incrementally daily on a daily basis. Go ahead.
Zuniga was confined in his home in Blue Island after drinking and eating away his life. Stressors of work as a real estate adjuster, among other things, and later a bad breakup, left him at an all-time high of 831 pounds, he says. Booze and fast food were his best friends, and he hadn't left his house in years.
He ain't went outside in years.
He went through it. I'm always thinking, I've got to lose a couple 100 pounds, and I'll be back in the mix. He says.
He said, I'll be back on my feet I just need to lose a couple 100. I'll be back on my feet.
Gone. But it wasn't a couple 100 pounds. My weight doubled. I was in shock. As stupid as it sounds, I was in shock. When I was unable to keep cleaning myself, I guess that was my rock bottom, he says. In July 2011, he was taken to the hospital and labeled morbidly obese.
He was gonna die.
He was fighting lymphedema, hypertension.
Lymphedema is when you have fluid in your lower extremities.
Wow. Hypertension and cellulitis, among other things. It was a turning point.
That means that you got you ever see people with the big ankles?
Yep.
They got the big ankles, and it looks like their shoe is being swallowed by their feet.
Calm.
What that is fluid, and what happens is once the fluid gets below the kneecap, the heart isn't strong enough to push the fluid back around the body. So then the fluid just starts, just dropping sinking towards the feet, and then it starts pulling down to the feet, and it can't come back up. And then the only way to get that out, you have to shrink those and ace bandage the feet, put some tension to push that fluid back up.
Compression socks.
It's compression socks, stuff like that. Right?
It was a beautiful day out, and I had seen everybody. Life was passing me by. That was when Zuniga said he was going to change his path of physical and financial ruin to one of wellness.
He said, but he had to make that decision. Everybody that wants to change something about yourself, you have to make that decision. You have to decide, I'm going to change. You have to decide, I'm going to be better. You have to decide, I'm no longer going to exist in this way. You have to make a decision to say, from this point on, my life is going to go in a different direction, and I'm going to take it in a different direction. You got to believe that it's possible.
He wanted to start living again, so he scoured the web for help and discovered an app, Lose It. His goal was 250 pounds and to travel the world. The image of me just being by an ocean, man, that helped me out tremendously, he said. Back then, and even today, Zuniga uses the app to count his calories, track his meals, and seek support from other users trying to lose weight.
All right.
Lose it.
So he said the image of what? The image of him doing what?
Just being by an ocean.
So he must have put, when you got that in your mind, that means you put the beach up on the wall. That means you pick the ocean that you want to go to, and you post that on the wall, and then you meditate on that ocean. I got to get to that beach. When you read the scripture, it's no different about what it takes to go from one step to another. You have to lay it in your mind. You have to put something in your mind. That's what we're going to go to. Let that go. Are we finished with that, Yawab?
God.
All right, go to Deuteronomy chapter 11 and start at verse 18. Read that.
Let me know when you're ready.
Read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 11,
Page 99.
Page 99.
in verse 18 reads,
Go ahead.
Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart.
And just like this man put this ocean image in his mind, I got to get to that ocean. I got to get to that beach. The Most High said you got to do the same thing with his words. When you want the Most High to intervene in your life and really give you assistance to change, you got to put the Most High in your mind. He says, lay up my words where?
These my words in your heart.
Your heart is your what?
Mind.
Is your mind. That means I got to store and stack up verses in my mind. I don't know what's in your mind. Everybody got different things on their mind. Everybody got different things that they put in their mind in their storage capacity, in their memory bank. Whatever you put in your mind, you better make room for and space to put the Most High's words in your mind. You got to have more of the Most High's words in your mind than your own mind. A lot of us, unfortunately, there's an imbalance. We got goals that we want to accomplish. We got things that, selfish motivation and pursuits that we want to get. Things that we haven't gotten yet. I want a car. I want this. I want that. I gotta get my 750 credit score. A lot of us got these things going in our mind more than we got the Most High's words in our mind. But the Most High is telling us that you got to lay up His words in your heart. Just like that man put that picture or had that image of that ocean in his mind. Mr. Zuniga. Read on.
Come. In your heart and in your soul.
And it's got to be where?
In your soul.
That word soul usually translates as being the appetite or the seat of passion. That means that the Most High's words must become my passion. It must be, that's what my appetite is based upon. My appetite is geared up off of, man, I'm hungry for the words of the Most High. That's what I'm pursuing. That's my new pursuit. Is that I want more. I'm hungry for His understanding. I'm hungry for His wisdom. I'm hungry for His knowledge. He said that has to be in your soul, and the seat of your appetite, the seat of passion. That's what you're striving for, to learn more about the Most High and what He can do for me. Because nobody knows the body or the spirit. So you got to go to the Creator. In order to make best use of this body, to make best use of the spirit, you got to go to the Creator. And you got to get His information to make the best possible use and conversion out of what the Most High gave you while you have time. Otherwise, your life is being wasted. And you'll be unfulfilled. But read on.
And bind them for a sign upon your hand.
It says, and bind them for what?
A sign upon your hand.
It says, so you got to bind them for a sign upon your hand. So that means what? What does it mean to bind them for a sign upon your hands? What does that mean?
Constantly putting the book in your hand.
You got to put it close to you. It's got to be in proximity to you. That means you got to have it in your hand. He said, bind them for a sign in your hand. So when people see you, they see you doing what?
Reading.
But most of the time, people see us, they see us doing what?
On the phone.
On the phone. Reading about what?
Instagram posts, Snapchat, other things, YouTube.
Thank you for being honest. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us say, no, I've been studying, man. I've been studying, bro.
I'm on the Bible app.
I'm on the Bible app. Yeah, they tell you they're on the Bible app. You say, let me see your phone.
Straight up on Instagram.
Yeah, you know. No, but our people are known for that. We're liars to ourselves.
Cappers, yeah.
We're liars to ourselves. This man said he was on an app, a weight loss app called Lose It. You know, the Most High said, you know, if you're gonna be on an app, then be on the Bible app for real. That's the app that should be in our hands. What am I meditating on? What am I putting in my spirit? Let me be on that, because that I can still use an electronic device to get the word of the Most High and lay His words in my mind. Nobody said it had to be by the paperback. You could use the Bible app to get however you got to feed yourself with the words of the Most High. So be it. If you got to put the audio Bible on and sleep with it, if you got to have the Bible app on, having that play. I know for me, I like James Earl Jones. I like his voice. They used to sell his the CDs, the Bible auditory Bible with James Earl Jones' voice. I'm like, it's a great one.
It's one of the
You know what I'm
best.
saying? It's something about
His New Testament reading is fire.
it's
bro.
phenomenal, bro. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. You know what I'm saying?
It's like you're there.
It like you're listening to a movie, man.
Okay.
But whatever the case may be, I know some brothers got their own, you know, personal, you know,
Sometimes it's serious.
desires.
Bible app.
Sometimes it's that little that agitating computer voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The one that's not even Siri. You know, it's the one that sounds like a, you know, damn digital.
Stephen Hawking robot.
Yeah, like Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking reads the Bible out. Golly, I can't stand that.
It's like real slow.
And the Bible says, you know what I'm saying? It's got that. You gotta get in. Yeah, I hate that, man. But
And 17 long years.
yeah, but the whatever you gotta do to get more of the Most High's words in you, you have to do that, because it's your job to really tap into what the Most High created and to yield your true potential for the spirit that He gave you. He gave you a spirit that's potent, but you're never activated if you don't use His words. It's necessary, and that's the hardship of our people, is that we don't like to study. We say we're going to study, but we really don't study. He said you're supposed to bind them for a sign upon thy hands. Read on.
That they may be as frontlets between your eyes.
Those frontlets are bands. When you read about the frontlets, those are phylacteries, those are bands, those are cords. So that means I'm strapping the Bible to me. If I'm going to really unlock my real potential, I got to strap the Bible to me. People believe in keeping straps on their hip more than they believe in keeping the Bible strapped to them. They'll put more emphasis in that. I got to protect myself. I got to have more guns. How many Bibles you got? You got more guns than you got Bibles. You got a problem. Yeah, there's a mix up of priorities. But I got these guns though. Man, you got all the guns you want, but you should have more Bibles than anything. More of the Most High's words stored up in your mind than you do artificial protection. But go to
I got scripture right here.
Come.
Ecclesiastes 9:18. Wisdom is better than weapons of war.
Right. So, but a lot of us will store up on guns. A lot of us have guns, weapons, and ammo, but have one Bible. But you gotta put, and that's okay if you got one, but you gotta put more of the Most High's words and put more trust in that than you do what you use to protect yourself. Beautiful scripture, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16. Hold that, boy. Yeah, my water. Somebody get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16. Start at verse 10.
Wisdom of Solomon, 16 and verse 10.
And usually what happens is, when I start,
Page what? 67?
tell them what page you're on.
Page 67 in the red book.
When I start, or I stop putting more of the Most High's words in my mind, there's usually something that happens. And I'm gonna show you what happens when I really stop studying and I really stop engaging my mind into the Bible. There's something that the Most High allows to happen to you to stir up your desire to want to read the Bible. Read this right here. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 16 verse 10.
Come. But thy sons, not the very teeth of the venomous dragons, overcame.
It says, when you look at the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, because that's what it's talking about right here. When you look at the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, they were met with all types of obstacles. They were met with wild animals and wild beasts, particularly venomous beasts. When you read about these flying serpents that came out of the ground, and you read about the amount of how they came out in the Josephus, it talks about they were hiding in the sand like a pit viper. But as they come out of the sand, they had wings.
Oh.
So not only would they bite you coming out the sand, but they would fly to you and bite you.
That's the worst ever, huh?
These are snakes with wings.
That's the worst.
So, which in modern day terms you would call that a dragon. So when you read in the Josephus how these snakes with wings will come out of the sand and bite the children of Israel based upon their negative mentality. When their mind got negative. Every time their mind got negative, the Most High had these serpents come out and sting them. Every time.
They learn quick.
Didn't pay out. It didn't pay to be negative.
They learn quick.
It doesn't pay. Yeah. Read on.
Come. For thy mercy was ever by them.
Now, although some of them got bit, it says the Most High didn't depart from His mercy. So the Most High allowed the bite to happen to some of them. Even the ones that, might have fell off in their perspective. He said the bite, some of them wasn't a death blow. Some of them did die. But the ones that were bit and lived, the Most High still gave them mercy. Read on.
Come. And healed them. For they were pricked.
It says for they were what?
They were pricked.
Why did the Most High allow them serpents, them dragons to come out the sand and bite them?
That they should remember thy words.
It says, why did the Most High allow these dragons to sting some people?
To remind them.
To remind them of what?
Remind or listen.
To remember thy words.
So, don't you think the Most High will do the same thing to you?
Oh yeah.
Don't you think the Most High will allow something to happen in your life to prick your life? To bring pain to your life? To bring destabilization to your life? Don't you think the Most High will allow some unforeseen situations to happen to you in your life? So that you can do what?
To remember thy words.
So you can put His words back in your mind.
That's true.
And that's a part of life, and that's a fact of life. Every time you choose not to lay up the words of the Most High in your mind, the Most High got some situations that come out of nowhere with wings, with venom, to sting you, so you can say, why did I get bit? Why did I get hit? Why did the Most High allow this danger or this circumstance to touch me? And I didn't see this coming. Well, the Most High saw it coming. The Most High saw what you were doing and what you were not doing. The Most High saw you had become forgetful. You didn't retain or lay up the Most High's words in your mind, so the Most High has to agitate your personal life. Just so you can start recollecting. Just so you can start, man, wait a minute. You can start thinking about, why did this happen to me? Every situation should be judged that way. Why did the Most High allow this to happen to me? What did the Most High say?
To remember thy words.
He said because you forgot His what?
Thy words.
So he said because you forgot His words. So every time you choose to not lay up the words of the Most High in your mind, you can best believe there's something bad coming in the near future. There's something that's about to pop off on you that you didn't plan for and that you didn't expect. That was going to blindside your comfort and put your life in jeopardy. He said because you didn't lay up His words. Read on.
And were quickly saved.
But it was just a reminder. And so once you got the point, oh man, let me go back studying. Then the Most High will do what?
Quickly saved.
Then He'll quickly save you. You got it. Something has to steer our people back to Him, because we soon forget in our thought process. This is where the danger is. The danger is not your schedule. It's not how many kids you got. It's not how many responsibilities you have. It's not how many hours of the day. It's not how much money you got. The danger is you don't think about the Most High enough. You don't have enough of the Most High's words in your mind. It has nothing to do with anything external around you. The battle is, how did you let your heart depart from the Most High? And if you let your heart depart from the Most High. One more point on this before we continue. Hold that and somebody go to Romans chapter 8. And read hold on. Might be chapter 3. Romans chapter 3. Let me get this real quick. Let me find it. Hold on one second. Since we're on this point, might as well bring this up. Sorry, Hebrews chapter 3. Not Romans. Hebrews chapter 3. Somebody get this real quick. Hebrews chapter 3. And start at verse 8.
Hebrews 3 and 8.
Yep.
Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 8. Harden not your hearts.
Because when you stop following the Most High says your heart becomes what?
Hardened.
Your heart becomes hardened, man. Meaning it gets stiff. It becomes inflexible. Meaning you can't follow anymore. When you stop laying up the words of the Most High in your mind, that's when you stop following. You stop trusting and you stop believing. And then your performance changes. Your attitude changes. Your behavior changes. Your speech changes. All these things change when you depart from the Most High's words being in your mind. When you separate the Most High out of your mind, all these attributes about you change. And this is what the Most High is warning us not to allow to happen. It says, harden not your hearts. Read on.
Harden not your hearts as in the provocation.
As the provocation is the wilderness that we read about in Wisdom of Solomon. About the Most High taking the children of Israel through the wilderness. And every time they got attitudes, the Most High had to bring these serpents out to correct them. Every time they got attitudes, or they got disobedient or rebellious, the Most High had to bring some calamity upon them. So it says, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation. Read on.
In the day of temptation in the wilderness.
Go ahead.
When your fathers tempted me.
Read on.
Proved me.
Go ahead.
And saw my works 40 years.
Read on.
Wherefore I was grieved with that generation.
He said, the Most High said, they made me angry. How do we make the Most High angry? Read on.
And said, they do always err in their heart.
They always err where?
In their heart.
They always go astray. Because that's what err means, to deviate or to go astray. They always go astray where?
In their heart.
In their what?
In their mind.
In your mind. The Most High has to have something set up to spank you. To bring you back to recollection that you need to get back to following. You need to get back to being obedient. You need to get back to studying. He says that's what bothers the Most High about the truth. It's not what you think a problem is. The Most High's problem that He has with us is we lose the Most High up here. That's when tragedy has to happen, because we lose the Most High in the mind. That was the same problem we had then. It's the same problem we have now. So let that go. We got that point, and finish that in Wisdom of Solomon.
Wisdom of Solomon 16 and verse 11. For they were pricked that they should remember thy words, and were quickly saved, that not falling into deep forgetfulness.
It says so that they don't fall. The Most High has tragedy strike you so that you don't fall into what?
Deep forgetfulness.
So you don't err in your heart. You don't go astray in your heart. How do we go astray in our heart? We stop following. We stop laying up those words in our mind. We stop studying. That is the beginning of your downfall. That's the beginning of every man's downfall, is when we stop studying. Then the Most High got to, boom, hit us with a sharp rebuke. Then after He spanked us with a sharp rebuke, now we're in the spirit of, let me study. Let me get back on track. He says so that they don't fall into deep what?
Forgetfulness.
Read on.
it's like they might be continually mindful of thy goodness.
It says, and they could be continually mindful of what?
Thy goodness.
Go ahead.
For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health.
It wasn't what Moses brought as far as the brass serpent on the staff that healed him. But what? Read on.
But thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things.
It says, but the Most High's word does what?
Healeth all
It's
things.
the Most High's word healeth all things. So it's showing you where the separation began and how I disconnected myself from the Most High. I stopped laying up the words in the Most High's words in my mind, and that was the beginning of the downfall. So when that happens, the Most High has to set it up to get you back on track. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be where I got to get stung to be mindful of the Most High. It doesn't have to be where everything in my life has to fall apart before I start remembering the Lord and recollecting, man, I owe the Most High my thought process. I owe the Most High my allegiance. It shouldn't have to be that way. All right, let that go in Wisdom of Solomon, and let's go to back to where we was at. Yeah, well, I believe you had Deuteronomy, right?
That's my water.
Oh, my Waller, you had Deuteronomy?
He's not right there. He was Deuteronomy.
So yeah, go back to Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 18.
11 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 18.
So we're learning that the Most High is saying that in order, these are steps to growth. These are steps to motivation and growth and change. These are things I got to start stacking up concepts. I have to start stacking up verses of the Bible. I got to start stacking up thoughts that the Most High wants me to meditate on, not just my own personal pursuits and agendas. These are somebody going in the right direction. I'm putting a lot of the Most High's words in my mouth. That's what the purpose of this whole school is for. Every day we go to work, we're laboring on a daily basis. It's so that we can bring all the tithes to where? To the storehouse. It says that my house have what? Meat. So everything that we work for, that we labor with our hands, is for the purpose of providing a place for people to get what?
The Most High's word.
The words of the Most High in their mind. That's what we labor for. That's the purpose of coming to class. If you didn't know that, why you come to class, why should you come to class? It's because you need somebody to aid you in putting the words of the Most High in your mind. Otherwise, when you're at home, you're not going to do it. You'll lie to yourself. You'll lie to yourself and you'll tell yourself, I'm going to be spiritual at home. That is not true. There's too many different variables at home. For one, there's comfort at home. For two, your bed is at home. For three, nobody's watching you at home. There's mischief at home. There's food in the refrigerator at home. There's comfort at home. There's TV at home. There's distractions at home. So if you leave spirituality to your pace, you'll never get understanding. Because there's too many things that pull at home to get you distracted. You need a place where your undivided attention could be available, so that you can get words of the Most High stored in your mind. And you're supposed to take what you receive from class, take it home and meditate on it, and double up, and continually put stacking on these concepts, and solidifying it in your mind by writing down your notes, by taking notes and going back and rehearsing the righteous acts, going back home and meditating over and over again. Let me get these scriptures I wrote down, and let me see if these scriptures make sense to me. Read verse 20.
Deuteronomy 11 and verse 20. And thou shalt write them upon the doorpost of thine house.
So what are you doing when you get home?
Write them upon the doorpost of thine house.
So when you have a desire for growth and for betterment, the Most High knows that you need reminders. We need reminders. That's why it says write them on your what?
Doorpost.
On your doorpost.
The house.
You know, I was reading. Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say, like, for example, put stuff up on your walls, put scriptures up on your wall, put them on your magnet on the refrigerator, just whatever. you can walk around your house and you just kind of take a glance and it'll just constantly remind you. You know, if that's what you got to do, if you got to go to that extreme, I'm thinking about doing it. I think that's a good exercise.
You know how much money sticky notes made? You know what a sticky note is, right?
Mm-hmm. Little yellow squares that you just.
They started in 1977.
$1 billion, right?
Yeah, no. You know how much money they make every year? A sticky note, a piece of paper with some adhesive on the back. Something you can cut up your own damn stick. You know how much they make every year? They make $50 billion a year.
Oh, God.
They produce and sell $50 billion worth of sticky notes every year.
Wow.
What does that mean?
That's something else.
We all need reminders.
They understand that people need reminders.
A lot of people value, yeah.
People don't understand how much the power is in a reminder. How much you need a reminder. The Most High knows that you need reminders. Shit, sticky note made by 3M knows that people need reminders, and they gain off of it. They make $50 billion a year in sticky notes. Just creating a piece of paper for somebody to write a little note on to remind themselves, I got to do this. You don't need to buy sticky notes. You can, but you know what the Most High had already said? Write them where?
On the doorpost of thine house.
You're already supposed to have them written on the doorpost of your house. Sticky notes aren't new. They just capitalize on a market that they know people are forgetful. Well, the Most High knows that we're forgetful too. That's why the Most High said you take these scriptures and you put them in your house. You put them on your wall. You put them on your doorpost. You put scriptures in the bathroom. You put scriptures in the front door. You put scriptures in your bedroom. You put scriptures on your mirror when you brush your teeth. Put you know what people call it, a vision board. You know what that is? That's that ocean that dude Zuniga was looking at every day. I got a vision, and I got to get to this vision. I got a goal, and I got to get to this goal. Well, you know what you need to get to that goal? You need reminders to get to that goal, because it's easy for you to be distracted from any pursuit that you go on, especially when it comes to evolving and bettering your spirit. You need reminders. You need everywhere you go should have sticky notes. In your car, there should be sticky notes with scriptures on it. That's what it means to bind this as upon your hands. Everywhere I look, I got scriptures. I got reminders. I got notes everywhere. I got signs everywhere. On my refrigerator, I got notes. I got calendars with notes on it. The Most High understands the power of writing things down. We're the only people that don't take notes. You can look at a brother's class notes, and that'll show you how serious he takes his own development. You can look at a brother's class notes, it'll show you how this man sees growth. There are no notes. There is nothing written down. How are you supposed to remind yourself of what it means to store the Most High's words in your mind, but you take no notes? There's nothing written down. How are you going to get it? Once again, our people underestimate what the Most High says that is a commandment. These aren't just something the Most High is telling you for advice. These are orders. These are orders from the Lord. He said, do what?
Said, write them upon the post of their house.
He said, you're supposed to be taking these words home and sticking them to your post of your house. Your front door, your back door, where you put your keys at, where you put your wallet at, where you brush your teeth at. Put them scriptures up. Put them scriptures up all over your house, because you need it that bad. You may not think you need it that bad, but if it's an order from the Most High, what does the Most High know? You need it. This is the level that it is not extreme. It's not extreme. It's necessary. What we may say, man, that's too much. Man, that might be going too far. Well, you got a lowrider magazine with a half-naked woman on the damn wall. Is that necessary?
You said you never go far enough.
Right. What'd you say, brother? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Another good point is the fact that when you write it on paper, you know, as you go through your day to day, you know, you might change your mind, but that paper ain't gonna change its mind.
Right.
Not what you wrote on there already.
Right.
And that becomes powerful, whether you realize it or not. Because again, we always change our mind, and we might look at something a little different. But if you write down what God says, it ain't changing.
How often do we forget that we have things that we're supposed to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
How many times do you see somebody get up and just run out the room? And they call you like, man, what happened? Man, I forgot to get my kids. I forgot they got up early today. I forgot to write it down. I forgot they had an early release day today. You know how many parents? That happened the other day. It was at the U-Haul. I said, where the manager at? He just ran out the room, ran out the store. He forgot to pick his kids up. They forgot to forget you pick your kids up.
And when it comes to plans, it becomes very powerful.
How you forget to pick your kids? He forgot to pick his kids up. He just ran out the office. You know why? Because if we don't have reminders, you're going to slip naturally. The Most High knows that there's so many things fighting for your attention. Those things that fight for your attention, half of those things Satan is using as bait to lure you into his realm. A lot of those things, that's nothing but a mere distraction. That's why you even when you're on your phone trying to look at scriptures, advertisement pop up, and then you could easily get sideswiped and go searching down a rabbit hole that you weren't even on. That's all that is. That's a mere distraction. The Most High understands the power of writing things down. Something happens when you see something and you put it in writing. It solidifies and it makes an impression in your mind. And it makes it harder to forget. You got auditory listeners, and you got auditory learners, you got visual learners, and then you got some people that are half audio and half visual. Some people say, well, you know what? You can just demonstrate it to me and I can get it. Well, how can you demonstrate the Bible when the Bible is meant to be read? Then you need more in order to adopt this thought process. Well, some people, they got a what do you call it? That damn perfect memory. Photographic memory. I could just read it one time. I could read the Bible one time and I got it. Man, please. It's not that easy. A lot of us don't have photographic memories. Because you know what? If that's the case, your bills will be on time.
That's true.
And you
saw that notice.
Yeah, you saw that pink letter. That pink letter you would have been like, oh yeah, I remember there was a pink bill that just came in. And the phone get cut off. Your phone won't get cut off. You got that photographic memory. But you know what? It doesn't happen. It's not that easy. Our people aren't blessed like that. You lie to yourself if you think you are blessed that way. The Most High knows the power of writing things down. That's why it says, write it upon where?
The doorpost of thine house.
Read on.
And upon thy gate.
As soon as I get in the home, that's the first thing I met him.
Yep.
Is the scripture.
That's the first thing I see when I come in the house and when I leave. When I come in my house and when I leave my house, I see scriptures. That's what it takes to change. You may think it's extreme. You may think it's unnecessary. The Most High doesn't. Because the Most High knows the Spirit better than anybody. Because He created it. And He's telling you what you need in your life. You need a heavy dosage of scriptures. We all do. Read on.
That your days may be multiplied.
It says that what?
That your days may be multiplied.
And if you do so, He said your days will be multiplied. Read on.
And the days of your children.
And the days of your what?
Children.
You know why? Because what habits are you delivering to your children? My mother and my father, they write everything down. They put everything down in writing. They put scriptures in the house. They put quotes they put Bible verses in the house. They got Bible verses everywhere. It's not just for you. These are habits that you're laying down for the future generation, for the next generation.
We always say, we use the cop-out of, I'm a product of my environment.
Yeah.
We're famous as a people for saying that. It's like every excuse. Anything we do bad when it comes to accountability, oh man, I'm a product of my environment and my parents. So why can't we use that in reverse?
Yep.
Why can't we make the environment more spiritual? And then be quality parents setting up that environment to pass down to our children.
Yep. Because when we make the environment more spiritual, what it does is it shows them what's important.
God.
And read, somebody else get Titus 2 and 5 real quick on that point. Titus chapter 2 verse 5.
Titus chapter 2 verse 5.
And somebody else in that get the Strong's. Who got the Strong's? You got the Strong's down there? Get the Strong's. Get the definition of what we about to read right here out the Strong's. That keepers. Yeah, read that right there.
Titus chapter 2 verse 5. To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home.
You supposed to be what?
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home.
Now this talking to women, about women, right? Some men say, well, you know, it's talking about young women, be discreet, to be chaste, or use chastity and discretion. Keepers at home. What does that word mean in the Strong's, in the Greek?
Keepers, right? Keepers.
Mhm.
Titus 2 and 5. 36:26.
Yeah, 36:26. What does that mean to be keepers at home? Keepers at home. What else?
Good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed.
36:26. Got it.
What does that mean right there?
It says 36:26. Kohozin.
No,
Said it wrong. ABC.
no, it's keepers right here. This is Titus 36:26. G 36. You and H.
Oh.
You in the Hebrew.
Caring,
Oh yeah.
You in the
I'm
Hebrew.
tripping. G.
caring
Yeah.
for the house.
What you got?
Caring for the house.
Write that definition down. What it means to be a keeper at home. This is what it takes to care for your what? That's how the Most High know you care about your house. When you got scriptures everywhere, all over your house, the Most High knows you care about your what? You care about your house. Because you put the Most High's words all around the house.
Cover. I got it right here.
You got it right there? What does it say?
Yeah. 36:26. The G. Greek. It says to guard. One who stays home. Domestically inclined. Keeper at home.
But
Good housekeeper.
Good housekeeping. What else?
To guard.
What you got, Nagaha? I like what you had right there. What did you have?
Working at home.
This is part of the work that it takes to do at home. Part of the work at home is to create that spiritual environment where there's scriptures everywhere, so that the children understand what's priority, what's important. What's important to you? What's important to me is not just the family photos. And I got the vacations that we went on. I got the time that we went to Disney World, Disneyland. I got the time I had the Mickey Mouse blanket and all. I got all the family photos because I'm making that imagery, that family. Yeah, that's good. That family is important. But what else is important? What else should be on that wall? Them scriptures should be on the wall. Them scriptures, not just family photos and all the good times.
Sunsets and flowers.
Yeah, not just drawings and animal photos and lions and creatures on the wall. And you know, you got everybody the lion on the wall. Not just those things. Let me put these scriptures up. This is because this is part of keeping that house. I'm writing everything down. And even when you run in the house, you write everything down. Do you know how, brother, what happens when you don't take notes, write things down? You don't put reminders up. You don't establish yourself on a calendar system. You don't set alarms.
That's real.
What happens when you don't manage? Because one of the definitions is keepers at home is what? It says.
I'm sorry, you want the other one?
Yeah, I want the other one.
Talking about caring for the house and working at home. The watch.
Yeah, the watch, caring for the household affairs.
Right.
That means I write everything down. I take notes. I'm bringing this mentality, the same mentality that I take with the Bible is what I bring home. Just like I take notes of scriptures, I write everything down so I can lay up the words of the Most High. I take care of my bills the same way. Everything is written down. Everything is on a schedule. Everything is on a calendar. You know how many brothers don't use a calendar? They don't use a schedule. They don't use no alarms. They don't put no reminders up. These are the brothers that be like, brother, I gotta go. I forgot to tell you. I got this appointment. I got this going on. A lot of times brothers get mad because you tell them what?
Last minute.
It's too last minute.
Counseling.
No, brother. We already knee deep in this situation. Tell them it's too late. Tell them you can't make it. Then brothers be sour and bitter. How you ain't let me go? I told you. You told me at the last minute. You didn't live by no schedule. You didn't live by no calendar. You didn't set it up. You didn't let nobody know, hey, man, I got this going on. This is what I got. This is what I'm trying to do. Okay, cool.
It'd be a random conversation, bro. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I gotta do.
Why don't you write it down the night before? Why don't you make mention of this the night before? Because too many times people don't write nothing down. See, the Most High knows the power of writing things down. In order to solidify information, to lay it up and store it in your mind, you have to write it down. You have to make it a habit of writing everything down in your life. First and foremost, scriptures. Then your particular household affairs should be operated the same way. Everything should be written down and laid out. What you got?
It said the watch, and there's a good definition for watch. It says to inspect and to guard from error or danger.
To watch, to inspect, or guard from error or danger. So that's a keeper at home. That's me. I'm watching at home. I'm watching out for that. I write everything down. You know, a lot of times what brothers want to do in particular is just push all the responsibility on the woman.
Yeah.
You know, hey woman, why don't you pay the bills? Why water just got cut off? Weren't you supposed to be watching too? Weren't you supposed to be maintaining as well, managing as well? Weren't you supposed to be inspecting? A lot of times brothers just want to go to work, I get paid, I lay my check on the table, I did my job. Now, woman, you got to do your job. You got to do your job. I did my job today, I'm tired. Where's the food at? Did you cook? Where's the remote? I'm tired, I need to collect my thoughts, I need to lay down and take a nap. I'm tired, I busted my butt today, I'm laying it down. No. If your house operates like this, if you don't operate off a schedule, if you don't operate off a calendar, if you don't operate off no alarms, no reminders, your house will be a disaster. You got to go home and take this thought, you got to develop this thought process of writing everything down. Live by a schedule. Live by sticky notes, journals, reminders. Set alarms on your phone. If the Most High is telling you the importance of writing things down, why do we underestimate it? You will never run a house correctly if you don't have that attribute at home. You'll be a bad housekeeper. Your house will operate. Whatever happens, you just live by the seat of your pants. Fly by night. You know what? Oh man, I forgot I got to pay this. I don't know how I'm going to get the money for that. I didn't see this coming. Man, I didn't see that bill coming. Man, I was caught off guard with this. Man, a disappointment came up. I'm tripping. And then you know what we have the nerve to do when our house falls apart? We got nerve enough to blame the Most High.
It's the Most High's fault.
We got nerve enough to blame the Most High that our housekeeping ability is lackluster and it's insufficient because we never write nothing down. We never keep no journals. We never keep no notes. We never keep a calendar, no schedule. We have no schedule. And then we blame the Most High. Man, if I didn't have to go to work today, I could have took care of the business.
Oh wow. It's a great one.
That's always a good one.
One of the greatest ones in Israel.
If I didn't have to do, I didn't know, we started at 8 o'clock this morning, we didn't get off till 7:30.
It's a Hebrew Israelite classic.
Yeah. It's always the Most High's fault when your household suffers, or your personal life starts to suffer. It's always the Most High's fault. We have the audacity to really blame the Most High.
That's why I don't believe anymore.
That's why I don't believe it. Yeah, that's why I can't do the camp life because it's pulling too much on my responsibilities. That's what Job said in Job chapter 7. Somebody read that. Job chapter 7 verse 20. Job chapter 7 verse 20. We have the audacity to sit back and blame the Most High that there was some type of failure within my life, in my organization, in my housekeeping. Yes, sir.
How do you mean blame the Most High? Because men aren't the Most High.
No, we blame the Most High that because of what I was doing for the Most High, my household is functioning. If I had more time at home, I would be able to get on top of all these responsibilities.
Yeah, despise it, despise not man, but Most High.
And so it's my look at what the Most High got me doing to where now I'm not able to maintain my household.
I can't even take care of my business.
But when you,
the Most High.
but right, that's what
men say.
That's what men say. Because one of the definitions of being a keeper at home is managing household affairs. But men will blame the Most High that their household affairs are suffering, but they don't write nothing down. Nothing's ever organized. There's no notepads. There's no schedules. There's no system of organization as a reminder of all their responsibilities with the children, with the wife, with bills, with all these things. Yes, sir.
Yeah, like if they got money issues, they don't
write a budget.
There's no budget.
You know,
That's
they don't
always
manage it.
classic.
Damn, I can't pay my bill.
Brother, he's
I ain't
right,
got
classic.
enough money. Well, you got a budget? No.
You know, you ask a brother, let me see your bill sheet. Let me get back with you. You know what I'm saying? Let me get back with you. Give me a couple days and I'll get you a bill sheet. They don't even have they can't even recollect what their bills are, how much the bill is, when the bill is due, what's the past due balance, and when is the revolving bill date. They don't know none of these things. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, it's like they'll be like, man, I didn't get a bill, man. I ain't even know about the payment. That's the same payment you got every month. What you mean? You've been paying it for a year and a half, and I didn't get it. I didn't know I had to pay it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the mailman took it.
Right.
He didn't drop it off to me. You know, so these are things that we do, that we see on a regular basis from men that don't understand the power of writing things down. The Most High just said, write this down everywhere. Write these scriptures down, because this is the level that it takes for you to implant something in your mind. Something has to be routine in order for you to think about it and implant it in your thought process. But when brothers will complain, they'll have issues with the work that they do for the Most High, but they have no schedule. They have no schedule whatsoever. It's almost like they're making stuff up as they go. And they're just waiting for something to say, hey brother, I need to get tomorrow off, because I got these tickets, I got to go to court. Man, don't you know the damn judicial system sends you a letter 3 to 6 months in advance before they tell you your court date 3 to 6 months in advance. 3 to 6 months in advance, they tell you you have a court date. You are ordered to appear in court on this day of this month of this year. Failure to appear in court could result into a warrant for your arrest. Man, that letter is sent out 6 months in advance. But it's not until the last minute that a brother comes and say, I need to get off tomorrow. I can't go to work tomorrow, because I got to go to court. Man, you knew this 6 months ago. You could have incorporated this into your schedule. This is just an example of how often and how frequent we see brothers' housekeeping fall apart and have the audacity to blame the Most High and the work that they do for the Most High as a reason why their house is failing. But they don't have no schedules. They have no calendars, no budget, nothing written down. But they have excuses, and they have fingers to point. Read that right there, Job chapter 7 verse 20.
God, Job chapter 7 verse 20. I have sinned. What shall I do unto thee?
It said, now this is Job talking. I sinned. What shall I do unto thee? Read on.
O thou preserver of men.
He said, you're supposed to be preserving me. Read.
Why hast thou set me as a mark against thee?
What did Job say?
Why hast thou set me as a mark against thee?
What is Job saying? Why you make me your enemy? Why you causing me to suffer is what he's saying. Because when soon as things happen, we don't say, well, maybe it's because I haven't been studying enough. We don't say, well, maybe I've been failing to lay up the words of the Most High in my mind. The first thing we do is blame the Most High and say, it's your fault. It's your fault that my house is not up to par. It's your fault that my household is failing. We love to pull the it's your fault card. It's the woman you gave me. It's the serpent. We love to point blame and shed blame instead of saying, I've been negligent in my management in my household. I don't write nothing down. I live a freestyle life, and because I do, things fall apart and things suffer. And then we got the audacity to say, Lord, why did you make a mark against me? Why are you doing this to me? That's us. Read on.
God, it says, why hast thou set me as a mark against thee, so that I am burdened to myself?
He says, so I'm no good to myself. Everybody blames their issues on who?
The Father.
On the Most High. If you're no good to yourself, then should you be blaming the Most High?
No.
No.
If I'm no good to myself, Most High is not to blame, huh?
The Most High is not to blame.
You gotta blame yourself.
You got to blame yourself, because obviously this is falling apart because I haven't been laying up the words of the Most High in my heart. And this is why my condition is suffering. But this is what it takes. This is what it takes to come out of a hole. I got to be more responsible. I got to write things down. I got to be more studious to being a keeper at home. I got to start keeping ledgers, putting an image up of what it is that I'm trying to focus on. This is what it takes to change. We're not even talking about a man. We read what it takes to change a man from 800 pounds to 300 pounds. What about to change a spirit in a person? How much more is it to motivate a spirit? To get a spirit to see its deficiencies. That's what it's going to take. Go back and let that go in Job, and go back to Titus.
God,
2 and 5.
God, Titus chapter 2 verse 5. To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home.
Now somebody else get we know that definition of keeper at home is somebody that's caring for the house. Somebody that cares for household affairs, duties. Somebody get Luke chapter 16 verse 1 and 2 real quick.
Still hold Deuteronomy.
Yeah, we still hold Deuteronomy.
16 verse 1 and 2.
Yes, sir.
Luke chapter 16 verse 1.
Come.
Whenever you're ready.
Read that.
It says, and he said also unto his disciples.
And this is what Christ is telling his students. Are we not disciples?
God.
Are we not disciples of Christ? He said this is what Christ told his disciples. Read on.
There was a certain rich man which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods.
That I'm wasting his goods. Read on.
And he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship.
He says, give an account of that what?
Stewardship.
So we know that being a keeper at home, producing good habits, forming good habits at home, is not just a woman thing. Because we read in Titus, it was referencing the women. Being a keeper at home, being responsible at home, not just putting all the blame or the responsibility of the running of the household on your woman. It says, get the definition of stewardship. Because sometimes we read that in Titus, we think the Most High only talking to women. No, he's not. That stewardship means what?
I got you.
Somebody get the definition of stewardship in the Strong's.
It says the office of a steward. And the definition of a steward is a man employed in great families to manage the domestic concerns.
It says a man, not just a woman. It's not just your woman's job to maintain responsibilities of the household, to write everything down and keep all the schedules and keep all the appointments and to inspect what could fall in the house. It's not just a woman's job. That's your house. As a man, you're the head of the household. It don't make sense for you not to know your own bank account. And you got to make a phone call to find out what is my bank account. What's my social security number? What's my routing number? I got to go. What's my credit card number? What's the zip code on this card?
What's my phone number? My cell phone.
It's not your woman's job to know these things. As a man, as a man, it says what? By definition?
A man employed.
Go ahead.
In great families to manage the domestic concerns.
To manage the domestic concerns. So if it's not the Most High's fault if my own personal life is falling apart. I'm mismanaging what I'm supposed to be taking care of. What you got, Dalia?
G3623, it says house distributor, manager, overseer, employed in the capacity, by extension, a fiscal agent, treasurer.
A fiscal agent, a treasurer. How many men are treasurers in a household? How many men know what's coming in and going out? How many men know what their balance is? What their responsibilities are?
A governor.
A governor. How many men are governing their households? What you got?
It said employed. Employed also means engaged. Meaning I know what's coming, what's going on. I'm involved in it.
I'm involved in it.
Right.
But it's not just. I'm not just passing the responsibility on to somebody else.
Delegating.
I have no idea where the status of the house is. For brothers that are unmarried, for brothers that have no reals but have responsibilities and duties, this is what we train men that don't even have relationships yet, that they learn to perfect these things before they even get into a relationship. Learn how to manage your own personal responsibilities. Learn how to manage your own spirit, your own spiritual well-being, your own finances, your own particular house, both spiritually and physically. Maintain your own personal affairs. This is part of the training that we do for men that don't even have wives. So when they do get into relationships and develop and build households, this can be second nature. They know how to do these things. But a lot of times we're not trained that way. And because we're not trained that way, there's a lot of mismanagement. And he says in Luke chapter 16, read that again.
Luke chapter 16, verse 2. And he called him and said unto him, How is it I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou mayest no longer be steward.
He said, for thou mayest no longer be what?
Steward.
Meaning you're not going to have no responsibility. You're not going to have a house if you don't know how to maintain it. Maintaining a house means management. Management means writing things down, keeping schedules, making reminders, just like you're supposed to be doing with the Bible. This is what it takes to run a household. The same thing you're reading of what it takes to build your spirit up is the same thing you need to take to your house and run your house. You need constant reminders of the affairs that's going on within your household. Otherwise, you will have no house. Go back, let all that go. Go back to Deuteronomy chapter 18 and 11 verse 18. I'm sorry. 11 verse 20 you was on.
Verse 20?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Deuteronomy 11 verse 20. And thou shalt write them upon the doorpost of thine house.
And the Most High's order is that you take these scriptures and you write them on the doorpost of your house. The Most High understands that there is a power to writing things down. You have to develop that same seriousness about your life. Taking spiritual accountability and financial accountability, economic accountability, your household accountability, everything must be written down. For what purpose? Read on.
And upon thy gates.
And upon thy gates. Go ahead.
That your days may be multiplied.
Go ahead.
And the days of your children in the land which the Lord swore unto your fathers to give them.
Right. So everything must be written down. The word write means to inscribe or record. To inscribe or record. So it's record keeping. The Most High is about you keeping records, writing things down, recording or inscribing something in your mind. Meaning you're implanting this in your mind. You're engraving this in your mind. That's what it takes to change your spirit and your physical well-being. You have to put this in your mind. And you solidify it, this change in this direction, when you write things down. There's a power to it. That's how that. And then hold this right quick. Go to Proverbs real quick, chapter 29, verse 18. Especially when you got a goal. The big man, Mr. Zuniga, put that beach in his mind. That was his motivation. I got to get to the beach. I haven't been out the house in years. I need to get to the beach. The Most High is saying you have to put up something in your mind for you to pursue it. A picture. Read that. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18.
Come. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18 reads, Where there is no vision.
The vision, where there's no vision, go ahead.
The people perish.
The people perish. So I gotta have a vision, right? So where am I gonna put this vision at?
On the doorpost.
I'm gonna put this vision, I'm gonna put it in writing. I'm gonna put it down on paper. Ecclesiastes 42 and 7 says what?
Ecclesiastes 42 verse 7.
Someone tell me you want to get that.
I was going to text it to you just now.
Yeah, go ahead. Ecclesiastes 42 and 7. Somebody get that.
Ecclesiastes 42 and 7. Deliver all things in number and weight.
He says, we just read that the Most High says, where there's no vision, the people what? Perish. So I have to have a vision. The vision must be written down. He says everything's supposed to be delivered in what?
Number and weight.
Read on.
And put all in writing.
Do what?
And put all in writing.
What does the Most High tell you?
And put all in writing.
He says everything in your life should be in what?
In writing.
In writing. You should be writing down everything. Even your visions. Even your goals. Even your changes. There should be some type of journal kept about where you're trying to go in your life. Yes, sir.
Proverbs 16, 1 and 3.
Go ahead and read it.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 1. The preparations of the heart in man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. So when you're saying the preparation, prepare, you gotta be diligent in what you're doing. You gotta write things down, as we're saying. Prepare for the next day. When you write these words on your doorpost, you won't bring your work home. You won't take your problems from the house to your job. So you gotta prepare your mind. And the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. You'll know what to say.
You know, a lot of times when you write down those scriptures and you study, the purpose of those scriptures sometimes hasn't even been necessary yet when you read and you lay up those words in your mind. A lot of times when you study and you store up these scriptures in your mind, it's for something that's about to happen. It's something for later. Or somebody's going to need to hear what you just read. Many times.
It's like a rainy day.
Yeah, many times somebody's going to need that scripture that you wrote down and that you planted in your mind. Somebody's going to need to hear that. Or you're going to have to remind yourself of that in the near future.
Facts.
It's not always just for you.
True.
It's for you, it's for your children, it's for everybody around you. But I got to first put it in writing. And and that's part of that preparation that you mentioned right there in Proverbs. You finished that in 42?
Can I say this too?
Come on.
And if I come from a chaotic life, a lot of us are reflections of our chaotic life and our chaotic upbringing. A lot of us aren't happy with the past life we've lived and how chaotic it was, but we're continuators. We continue that same unhappy path that we complained about.
Yep.
So if I'm a young person, if I'm young in spirit, I'm young in life, you know what? This is the benefit of being around scripture. It's the benefit of being around a Bible. It's the benefit of being around leadership. It's the benefit I should be taking all the positive information I can and bringing it into myself and making myself an example or at least a compendium of that righteous information. I should be gathering, quote unquote, all the Dragon Balls together. I should be gathering all the Dragon Balls together, which are spiritual understandings, biblical understandings, and making them myself, making who I am, so that my children, so that the people I have in my household, because I will be a householder, I will be a father, I will be someone that someone's going to follow eventually. I don't want to repeat the chaotic life I had to go through. I don't want my children or my brothers and sisters or whoever people depend on me to go through and experience what I experienced. This is the reason why the Most High puts you around a completely opposite environment like a camp. A completely opposite environment like a body of men. This is why the Most High corrects. That's why we have class that makes you might feel uncomfortable. The discomfort is positive if you come from a chaotic lifestyle. You don't want to be comfortable in chaos.
Yep. And you know what? Soon you won't have a house.
Come on.
You know, you'll be out of a house. But these habits never get worked on. They never get built up.
Come on.
And a lot of times what our people do is blame. We got a bunch of blaming and excuses to give as to why my situation is so bad. But when you go and you start investigating the management of households, you find out that their affairs are out of order because they never write nothing down. It's not a coincidence that people that have a bad operating house, they have bad management skills. They have no notes, they have no schedules, they have none of these things. They go together. In 42:7 he said what?
Ecclesiasticus 42:7, page 96. Deliver all things in number and weight.
He says everything should be written down in numbers and weights. Read on.
And put all in writing.
Go ahead.
That thou givest out.
He says you're supposed to have a tally or a record of all your expenses. Everything you've done. If I ask a brother right now, how much money you got left from your check? If he has any, he'll say, well, all I got is this. And if I ask him, what have you done? Give me an account of your expenses. 9 out of 10 men cannot give you an account of their expenses. They have no idea where their money went. But they wonder why they're in the same situation month to month. Nothing's changed about my situation. I'm not responsible in managing my affairs. I'm not on top of my expenses, but I'm expecting for my house to run smooth. It doesn't work that way. He says that writing down everything that goes out is something that's monumental to run a house, to run a family. Read on.
And put all in writing that thou givest out or receivest in.
Or that you get in. You should know these things. How many times do the brothers and sisters don't have no idea of how they got in the situation that they're in? Because they just know that as fast as the money came in, it's just as fast as it left. There's no record, there's no recollection, There's no schedules, management, no tallies, no journals, no nothing. No nothing kept. But then this is because my bad management ability. Now my work for the Most High has to suffer. Now my thought process for the Most High has to suffer. Now what I do for the Lord has to suffer, because now I'm not fixing my house life. I'm not maintaining my house life. Now my duties and my work it's compromised. And this happens to our people. Go to Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2. He says, where there's no vision, the people perish. He says, and everything should be done in writing. Everything should be written down. We underestimate putting pen to paper. Even in class. We won't take no notes. None whatsoever. But then expect something to change within our lifestyle. Read that right there.
What verse was that again?
We're in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 2. And the Lord answered me.
Somebody else get Somebody else get Isaiah 30 and 8 real quick. Read that.
Isaiah 30 and verse 8.
Go ahead.
Now go and write it before them in a table.
The Most High said, I want the children of Israel to remember my words. And what it's going to take for them to remember my words, they have to go write this down. He was telling Habakkuk to go write this down and put it in a what?
In a table.
Go ahead.
And note it in a book.
And note it where?
In a book.
Did the Most High expect you to orally get His commandments? Did the Most High know that your memory is so good that you would remember the 66 books of the Bible? Did the Most High know that you would just be able to retain the Bible? What did the Most High know to do because He understands us so much? What did He tell Habakkuk to do?
Write it before them in a table.
He says, go write it before them in a what?
In a table.
Read on.
And note it in a book.
And note it in a what?
In a book.
Why do you think the Most High had the Bible to where we have the Bible to this day? For what purpose? To remind us.
To remind us of His commandments.
Because the Most High understands what we need. We need things written down so that we can be reminded of what He's telling us to do. There's no way you're going to understand the Most High without this Bible. If you don't lay it up in your mind, you don't read it, and you don't take any notes from it. That was the whole purpose of the Bible to begin with, is so that we can recall and recollect His mind frame, His thought process. Read on.
God, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever.
So that later on down the line, they can go back to the Bible and they have something that they can go back to remind them of where they slipped, where they failed, what changes they need to make. Here's a book of remembrance that the Most High has established so that I don't forget how to get back on course with the Father. Because the Most High knows we need this. We should be taking the same thought process to our lives, just knowing that the Most High set a book aside for us. I need to set a book aside in my life. I need to write everything down that I'm trying to obtain as far as pursue as a goal, spiritual development. All these things should be written down in a book. What changes I'm going to make. This is why we tell brothers, write down a short-term goal list. Do you have a short-term goal list? Do you have a long-term goal list? Do you have a goal list of where you want to be in 3 months? Do you have set in your mind, you know what, I'm going to take the soldier's test, and by this day and this time, I want to have the soldier's test passed. By this day and this time, I want to have the officer 50 test passed. By this day and this time, I want to have the officer 100 test passed. By this day and this time, I want to be doing this, this, and this. And let me write it down so I can remember I started this goal back in January. How close am I to this goal? I started this goal in March. How close have I gotten to obtaining this goal? Everything should be written down. And when you do start making a record and keeping a record, you'll start seeing yourself push towards that record because it's a constant reminder. Man, I gotta remember, I gotta get that done. You know what? I needed that reminder. I'm glad I put that there. I forgot this was coming up. I forgot this was going to take my mind away. I forgot I had this appointment. I forgot I had this going on. You'll start watching your life become synchronized Your life will become synchronized once you start writing everything down and constantly keeping reminders of what you need to change about yourself. The Most High knew we needed this. That's why he told Habakkuk, write this down. Read that right there.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision.
He said, do what?
Write the vision.
Do what?
Write the vision.
Write the vision down. So that what? Read on.
And make it plain upon tables.
And make it plain upon tables. Easy to understand. I'm supposed to write things down and make it easily understood and legible. You gotta take good notes that you can go back to that's easy to read. If you're taking bad notes, how are you going to go back and utilize those notes if you scribbled on the paper? You don't even know what you wrote. Or if you just wrote verses down and you wrote nothing next to what that verse means. How am I going to go back and remind myself, this verse said this? If I just wrote I got a notebook full of just verses. How often are you going to actually go back and rewrite those verses in the same context and how they were delivered to you?
It ain't gonna happen.
It's not going to happen.
I'm lying myself.
You know what you're going to have? You're going to have a notebook full of halfway filled out notes. You're going to have a bunch of jotted notes on your paper with half understanding of what it was that I was supposed to get out of this verse. What was this verse trying to tell me? What was the Most High trying to get me to see with this particular verse? If I'm taking notes and I'm taking a note next to the verse, what this verse means, so it's plain. But when you look at, if you look at people's notes, they even tell you in school that when you take good notes, you're a good student. Good students take good notes.
It's facts.
It's facts. Because you know what they're doing? They're solidifying the information in their mind every time they write it down, and it's plain and it's easy to read and it's legible. It's easily understood. This is how the Most High knows that to this amount of degree of what it takes for us to learn. Everything must be written down and made plain and easy to understand. So you can always go back to it. Right? Malachi 3:16 on this last verse on this point. Read that.
Malachi chapter 3 verse 16. It says, then they that feared the Most High spake often one to another.
He said, yeah, it's good to talk verses or talk about what you're going to do as far as changes you're going to make. Read on.
And the Most High hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him.
But the Most High knows that we're not going to remember these verses unless a book of remembrance was what?
Written before him.
The Most High knew that we needed a reminder. The Bible is nothing more than a compiled sticky note, bunch of sticky notes compiled together in one book. The Bible is a book of books.
Book of remembrance.
A book of remembrance. These are just all the reminders that was necessary of what the Most High wanted from us. Otherwise, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't remember. We wouldn't recall it. Orally, we weren't going to remember this. You need this constant reminder because it's written down to solidify your thought process so you can attack any stronghold, anything, any kind of setback in your life. You got to take great notes. You got to write everything down. You got to keep a record of all your spiritual development. All these things are necessary. He said a book of remembrance was what?
And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Most High.
For them that did what?
Feared the Most High.
So now we understand how important reminders are. What's the next thing as a principle of motivation? You got to write things down. You have to become a student of writing things down. It has to be habitual. Taking notes has to be habitual. Writing scriptures down has to be habitual. Making changes, writing goals down has to be habitual. Putting reminders up all around you has to be habitual. So the next thing is what? 2 Corinthians chapter 8. Let's read that. 2 Corinthians chapter 8. Read verse 11. Read verse 11. No, read verse 10.
2 Corinthians 8 verse 10. And herein I give my advice, For this is expedient for you,
He says, herein I give my advice, for this is expedient for you. Read on.
who have begun before, not only to do, but also to be forward a year ago.
So he's showing that this is how you get ahead in your life. This is how you get ahead. Last week was about you got to have faith, you got to have desire, you got to have focus, you got to have actions to back up your faith. Now this week we're learning what? I got to write everything down. I got to have a vision. I have to have a record. I have to have a tally. I have to manage my affairs. I have to put everything down on paper. In order to solidify it in my mind. This is how you get ahead. This is how you develop. This is how you grow. This is how you get ahead a year ago. Read on.
Come. Verse 11. Now therefore, perform the doing of it.
It says, once you do all these things, then you put forth the action. He says, you perform the what?
The doing of it.
Read on.
That as there was a readiness to will.
He says, as there was a readiness to will. So what do you need after you write everything down? You need what?
The will.
You need the will now. After you write the goals down, or the changes down, or write all your responsibilities down, your affairs down. Once you put everything in writing, and you got it all on paper, now you need the what?
Will.
You need the desire. You need the will.
The mindset.
The mind frame. I can do this. Just like that man put that damn picture of that beach in his mind. He said, I can do this. He said that's what helped him, aid him to his 500-pound loss. He put the beach in his mind. I have to have the vision. Now I have to have the action to back it up. Let me get to that vision. Let me get to that point. Read on.
So there may be a performance also out of that which ye have.
So now that I got this will, now my performance matches my desire. Now there's only one way that your performance will match your desire. Read on.
Verse 12. For if there be first a willing mind,
Go ahead.
it is accepted according to that a man hath.
You can't make excuses about what you don't have, about how somebody has it easier, how somebody has it better, how other people, it's easier for them to do it because they're already, they've been around longer, or, I have a larger amount of weight to lose than other people. I'm at a greater disadvantage. I can't worry about these excuses. All I have to do is put forth the effort, and the Most High will bless it based upon my effort. It says, not according to what in verse 11?
And not according to that which he hath not.
Because you know what a lot of people will do? They'll say, I can't fix my situation because look at where I'm at. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough freedom. I don't have enough liberty. It's impossible. This is too great of a situation. People will look at what they don't have as far as the capability. I got children. I got kids. You don't. It's easier for you because I got a 12-hour shift. You have a part-time job. You're a stay-at-home mom. I'm not. People will make excuses based on comparing themselves to other people on who has what. But that's not what the Most High is looking at. For growth and development, that is not a factor with the Most High. Achievement and success is not based upon what you possess. All you have to possess is the desire. How do you know this? Somebody go to Ecclesiastes chapter 33 and read verse 15.
We stay in the 2 Corinthians?
You can let 2 Corinthians go.
Okay.
Ecclesiastes chapter 33, verse 15.
Because a lot of us will say, man, the Most High is not fair. The Most High is unjust. He's not fair when it comes to me. Read this right here.
So look upon all the works of the Most High.
He says, so look upon all the works of the Most High. Read on.
And there are 2 and 2.
What he's showing you is, you're always going to have somebody that does something better than you. There's always going to be somebody that's in a position of where you want to be, where you feel like it's impossible for me to get to that point. There's always going to be somebody that stands in the opposition of where I am. He said you can look at all the works of the Most High, and there's always going to be good examples, bad examples. There's always going to be people that are doing better than me. And there's always going to be somebody that I can look at and say, well, man, they got it easier. Man, they had it better. Well, they didn't have it. They didn't come from where I came from. See, if they came from where I came from, it wouldn't be that easy. It's not that easy. You make it sound easy, but it's not that easy. Yeah, there's always going to be somebody that makes what you're trying to do look easy and look better. There's always a standing opposition to where you are as a person. Read on.
And there are 2 and 2, one against another.
So he's showing you that you could always compare yourself to somebody. That's always going to be there. Read on.
Verse 16. I await up last of all.
But listen what he's saying right here. He said, where the Most High put me at, he says, I await where?
Last of all.
I didn't get the truth till I was 30.
Wow.
I didn't get the truth until I was 40. I didn't get the truth until I was 50. I didn't get the truth until I was 60. When nobody told me, and I just came upon the truth. I just woke up into this knowledge. I'm at a greater disadvantage because you guys have had this knowledge longer than me. I'm brand new to being an Israelite. I'm brand new to being a Jew. I don't know what it means to be a Jew. Y'all know what it means. You can remember scriptures off the top of your head. I can't. I'm just beginning. You can recall scriptures, but you make it look easy. Get this verse right, get this verse, get this verse. I'm just learning the Bible. I'm learning how to read. I don't really know how to read. I'm learning how to study. I don't even know what y'all talking about. I don't even know where the books are in the Bible. I don't know what the Old Testament books are. I don't know what the New Testament books are. I'm having trouble just keeping up in class. You're always going to have somebody at a position where they feel like I'm at the bottom. Man, the sisters they make these garments look easy. Look how they stitch these garments. That sister made 2 shirts in 20 minutes. I'm still reaping the shirt. I'm still stripping the seam apart. That sister done made 2 shirts, cut it, put the hem on it, glued the bias down on the edges. She done cut the fringes up and cut the leather up, and she done stitched it down. And she's already working on the pants, and I'm still on the first shirt. I'm never gonna get this. Man, they make this look easy. Man, these brothers make reading the Bible easy. How come everybody knows where this verse is but me? How come I'm the slow one? You know how many times that thought plays in our people's heads? Why I gotta be the slow one? I wasn't a good student in school. I really didn't take good notes. I could barely read. And it's hard for me to know the words of the Bible, to know the books of the Bible. I need time. I didn't get the time. It's not fair. The Most High is not fair. Y'all have more time in this. Y'all been around longer. You make it look easy. He said what? He said, I await last of what?
Of all.
You can hold on to that excuse. You can hold on to that rationale. And you can hold on to that thought process. But that's not how the Most High blesses somebody. The Most High doesn't bless a person based upon their disadvantage. The Most High doesn't bless a person based upon their handicap. That's not how the Most High blesses. How does the Most High bless a man in his pursuit to overcome obstacles? Read.
As one that gathereth after the grape gathered.
He says, it's almost like everybody's got all the grapes and I got crumbs. Everybody's already cleaned out the damn grape field. Look at what they left me. Look at what I got to work with. I got to work with little bitty grapes. They got all the good grapes. Everybody got the grapes. But me, I got crumbs. I didn't graduate high school. I didn't go to college. I had to learn things the hard way in life. I wasn't really a good student. Now I'm trying to come from behind. The Most High doesn't care about your origin. He doesn't care about your start. He doesn't care about where you came from. That's not how the Most High bless a man. You could have the worst damn beginning. But the Most High says, He says, I awake last of all, as if I had the last of the grapes. As the grape gatherers. Read it one more time so I can say it correctly.
I awaked up last of all, as one that gathereth.
He says, as one that gathereth. Go ahead.
After the grape gathereth.
After everybody's already accumulated.
I'm the last person, bro.
Accumulated this knowledge, man.
Oh.
I'm the last one to get this knowledge, and I'm late doing it. How am I going to change? How is this knowledge going to work for me? I'm in last place. I'm at a disadvantage. Read on.
By the blessing of the Lord, I pray.
Oh, hold on, stop. See, what people underestimate is that once you have faith in the Most High, once you activate your desire, which is through constant studying, once you lay up the words of the Most High in your heart, and you start putting it in motion, once you start writing things down, and start making an attempt to keep his thoughts, his words in you, and laying up his words in your mind, once you start doing all these things, the Most High starts to what?
I profited.
No, he says right before that.
By the blessing.
He says by the what?
By the blessing of the Lord.
So it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter where you start at. It doesn't matter what you don't know, what you can't do. If you could just in your pursuit to grow, if you can get the Most High to endorse you, to back up your effort by blessing your effort. If I can get the Most High to bless my effort, then what? Read on.
By the blessing of the Lord, I profited.
He said you can still what?
Profit.
You can still benefit. You can still benefit by getting the blessing of the Most High. Doesn't matter your origin. You could have the worst start in the world in life. You could have came out the projects. You could have came out the ghetto. You could have came out a ghetto child. You could have came out a crack baby. You could have came out of whatever. That doesn't dictate how you end up. That's just the beginning. He says, by the blessing of the Most High, I did what?
Profited.
I profited. Read on.
And filled my winepress.
He says, and filled my what?
Winepress.
You know what that means? That means that even though I came in the truth last, or I came in late, that means I can still have an equivalent level of blessings, and I can still produce and yield what somebody has yielded who's been in the truth for 20 years. I can still yield the amount of faith that somebody has yielded being in the truth for 30 years. That still means I could yield the amount of understanding that somebody has understood who's been in the truth for 20 years. So do you see how there's no imbalance with the Most High? There is no imbalance. The Lord is not unfair. He's not unjust. The Most High is unfair with me. You can accumulate as much understanding as you want. Yes, sir.
Ecclesiastes 3 and 10.
Read that.
Ecclesiastes 3 verse 10. I have seen the travail which the Most High has given to the sons of men to be exercised in it.
Go ahead.
That was it on that
He
verse.
said, I've seen the travail that the Most High has given to the sons of men to be exercised in it, right? So he's showing you that a lot of people had a rough start. A lot of people came into this knowledge late. But what's possible for you to obtain is not predicated on where you started, on where you began. Just like the man that started at 800 pounds. That doesn't dictate your finish. If I can just do enough to gain the blessing of the Most High, he says my wine press could still be full. That means I got just enough grapes, just enough understanding, just enough wisdom as the next man. I got just enough knowledge as the next man. I got enough to keep me going. Even though I came in getting the crumbs and the last of the grapes. This is why the Most High Christ said, the first shall be last and the what?
The last shall be first.
And the last shall be first. Doesn't matter, it don't matter where you start. It's how you finish. And how you finish is based upon did I do it within my pursuit? Did I get the Most High to bless me? In my pursuit for growth, in my pursuit for development, in my pursuit for change, did I get the Most High to back me up? He said my wine press was full. Read on.
My winepress, like a gatherer of grapes.
He says like a what?
Like a gatherer of grapes.
He says like a gatherer of, like as if I was there from the beginning. As if I never had a lack. As if I never was shorthanded. As if I was never at a disadvantage. As if I never started late. Do you know what that means? That means that I can come in the truth at 40 years old and obtain just as equivalent to what a man has been in the truth all of his life. So the idea of a disadvantage doesn't exist when it comes to the Most High. That doesn't exist. There is no excuses. There is no excuses to development. As long as you know what it takes to get the Most High's blessing, you can come from any setback. You can come from any prison, condition, jail, homeless, whatever the case may be. All that is irrelevant to the Most High. You know what the Most High looks at? Do you have enough desire, focus, fervency, faith? Do you write everything down? Do you make a mental commitment to remember my words? And if so, it doesn't matter where you start. It's how you get busy. Once I know what to do, I got to get busy. You know what that means? That means I got to start stepping on those grapes. I got to start stepping on that wine press. I got to start stepping on the grapes for what the Most High has given me. Even though other people may have had more grapes, let me step on my grapes. Let me step on what the Most High gave me and convert what the Most High gave me, and my wine will still be full. So you see how the Most High don't care about where you come from? Because too many people will use that as a damn excuse to why they can't grow. Too many people will use that as an excuse to why their situation can't change or hasn't changed. It's not about what you don't know. It's about what you do know. It's not about what you don't have. It's about what you do have. And as long as you have the blessing of the Lord, matter of fact, go to Ecclesiastes 34 and read verse 15.
Ecclesiastes chapter 34 verse 15. Blessed is the soul of him that feareth the Lord.
All you need to have is what?
Fear the Lord.
All you need first is to fear the Lord. You fear the Lord enough, the Most High will set you up as equivalent to anybody who's been in the truth or have knowledge or been around. It doesn't matter, man. That's irrelevant to the Most High. That's why Job said, days should speak, and a multitude of years should speak knowledge. He said, but it's the spirit of a man, right? He said, not all aged men are wise. Not all aged men have understanding. So if I can get the Most High to endorse my spirit by how much I fear Him, the Most High will let me have the same amount of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as anybody that's been in the truth forever. But it's what I do with the grapes that I got. What do I do with them grapes that's left over? Do I take what I got and make the best use of it? Do I make the best use of what I have? If you make the best use of class, you can accumulate the same understanding that somebody has had who's been in the truth for a long time. That means you can accomplish in what somebody's been in the truth for 7 years, and you've been in the truth 1 year. You can accomplish their 7 years of being in the truth in 1 year if you fear the Lord enough. Yes, sir.
Ecclesiastes 11, 21, and 22.
What does it say?
21 says, but trust in the Lord, and abide in thy labor. For it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the sudden to make a poor man rich.
Easy. It's an easy thing. He said, but if you abide in your labor, that means you got to make the best use of the little bitty picked over grapes that you got. You know, you go to the grocery store and ain't no food left. You just got to get what's on the shelf. Well, you better go home and make some goulash. I don't know if everybody know what goulash is. You better make a home-style souffle. That means you taking the can of green beans, the can of corn, the mixed vegetables, some ground meat that's left over in the freezer, the 2 eggs that you got in the carton, and a half a block of cheese, some macaroni shells in the back of the pantry, and you're going to mix it all up, and you're going to make a souffle. You know what the Most High looking at? And that could be a bomb meal. Because it don't matter what you got, it's what you do with it. And that's how the Most High look at your development. Doesn't matter where you come from. It's what you do with what He gave you, with what you have, what's in front of you. So if I abide in my labor, if I get busy stepping on those grapes, you better step on your wine press. Your wine press is whatever it is that the Most High gave you, not in comparison to what other people possess. It's about what you possess. Stop looking at what everybody else got. Read on.
The blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly.
Is in the reward of the godly. What you got, Yati?
That was the last part.
Go ahead.
And suddenly he maketh his blessing to flourish.
And suddenly make his blessing to flourish. What you got?
Because you're saying the desire, to have the desire, and the fear of the Lord is the desire of discipline.
God.
That's all.
Yeah, God, it is. Finish that in Ecclesiastes 34. Read that again and finish it.
Yeah. I was going to say, can I get a verse on what Yaki just said?
God, go ahead.
It's Ecclesiastes 32:14.
Read that.
Says, whosoever feareth the
Let
Most
him
High
write
will
it down.
receive-
Let him write it down.
Sorry.
Slow it down just a little bit so you can write it down. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes chapter 32 verse 14. Whoso fears the Most High will receive His discipline, and they that seek Him early shall find favor.
Shall find favor. Now we know the definition of favor is kindness, friendship, and mercy. If that's if I fear the Lord. So you know what? My potential to achieve whatever goal I have in life is attainable, as long as I gain the Most High's favor, and that's predicated on how much I fear Him. So although somebody may have had this knowledge for 5 or 10 years, they may not fear the Most High enough, and even though they may have all the grapes, I can still make just as much wine as they make, because I take the grapes that I got, and I get busy with those grapes. That means I become diligent in the pursuit of giving the Most High whatever it takes to gain His reward, and that's what everybody should be in the pursuit of. It doesn't matter where you start; it's how you finish. So I should be in the pursuit of gaining the Most High's favor, getting His blessing, and on what that means, continually on what that means. Finish that, Yeshai.
Blessed is the soul of him that feareth the Lord. To whom doth he look?
It says, to whom doth he look? Go ahead.
And who is his strength?
And who is his strength? Go ahead.
For the eyes of the Lord are upon them that love Him.
It says, for the eyes of the Most High are upon who?
Them that love Him.
That are upon them that love Him. Read on.
He is their mighty protection.
He is their what?
Their mighty protection.
So the Most High will bless or endorse the person who has their eyes on Him. That means if I'm the person that's laying up the words of the Most High in my mind, I'll get the Most High's attention. And if I can gain the Most High's attention, then I can gain His favor. I can gain His kindness. I can gain His friendship. And I can gain His reward. I can gain His wisdom. I can gain His understanding. I can gain His knowledge. And then I start to grow. Read on.
And strong stay.
And what?
And strong stay.
He becomes my protector. He becomes my strength, my strong stay. What else?
A defense from heat.
The Most High becomes my defense. What else?
And a cover from the sun at noon.
Read on.
A preservation from stumbling.
And the Most High becomes a protection from when it gets hot. That means when tribulation arises. When tribulation arises, the Most High will cover me. I got the Most High's protection. So I'm not worried when tribulation comes. I'm not fearing or doubting like everybody else is around me. Read on.
And in help from falling.
And in what?
And in help from falling.
And the Most High will lift me back up if I fall. So you can't as long as I pursue the blessing of the Most High, it doesn't matter where I start at. He'll make up the difference. The Most High will make up for what I lacked. If I didn't have parents growing up, the Most High will make up for me not having parents growing up. If I didn't finish school growing up, the Most High will help me make up not finishing school, where it doesn't put me at a disadvantage. If I was homeless since the time I was 12 years old, It doesn't matter. None of those things. The origin of my beginning is irrelevant. Could have been an alcoholic, a drug addict. Could have been a gangbanger. You know how many brothers come in the truth that was gangbanging? That were addicts? That were criminals? You know how many brothers that convert? Because it doesn't matter where you start. Shit, there's been homosexuals that are in the truth that have forsaken that lifestyle. It doesn't matter where you start. There's been murderers in the truth that have killed people in the past that are in the truth. But what Christ said, all manner of sin shall be forgiven. So it don't matter where you start. That's irrelevant. Don't look at your beginning to say, damn, I got a monumental uphill battle to climb. Man, look, I'll never be able to get over this hump. That's not the way to look at it. Because you know what? You know who will aid you to getting over that hump?
The Most High.
The Most High will. So it don't matter where you start at. The Most High will help aid you on your journey. Yes, sir.
On that point, can I get one verse?
Come.
It's Job chapter 8, verse 7, and then after that we're going to go to 5. Job chapter 8, verse 7. It says, though thy beginning was small.
It says, though thy beginning was small. Go ahead.
Yet thy latter end should greatly increase. Now the question will be, how would our latter end greatly increase? If we jump up to verse 5, it says, Job chapter 8, verse 5. If thou wouldest seek unto the Most High but times, and make thy supplication to the Almighty, meaning our end will increase when we put our focus, our supplication, and all of our energy into the Most High. And the definition of supplication says humbly and earnest in prayer and in worship. So if I'm honestly humble and giving myself to the Most High, doing whatever I have to do to break myself for the Most High, then in the end I will have the increase. But I have to fight for it. I have to prove to the Most High and show Him that I'm willing to go through whatever I got to go through to get to that end, the proper end. That's all.
Right, absolutely. And how you do that is, I have to do everything in my power to get the Most High's blessing, to earn the Most High's blessing. And the Most High will help compensate me for what I lack. I don't have to worry. He'll cover what I lack. I don't have to worry about my beginning. I could have a bad upbringing and a bad start. Doesn't matter. You know how many sisters that come in the truth that was strippers? Or loose women? Club hoppers? Party goers? Thotties? You know, whatever you want to, I don't know, whatever they call them. I don't know what they call them. But you know how many sisters come in the truth that are you'll never know their origin. You know why? Because their origin is irrelevant. You never know where they started from, because that doesn't matter. It's what they're doing now. You know what they did? They've changed their life so much as to gain the blessing of the Most High. And so the Most High has converted their condition. That's what we deal with. And that's no problem. And you know what? And that's what the Most High wants anyway. Finish that in verse 16.
Verse 16. For the eyes of the Lord are upon them that love Him. He is their mighty protection and strong stay, a defense from heat, and a cover from the sun at noon, a preservation from stumbling, and in help from falling. He raiseth up the soul.
He said he does what?
He raiseth up the soul.
Even with the ones that got a little bit of grapes. They only have a little bit to work with. Read on.
And lighteneth the eyes.
Go ahead.
He giveth health.
He gives what?
He giveth health.
What does the Most High give you?
Health.
The Most High give you health. You can be healed from any situation. Your health and well-being could be solidified as long as you gain the favor of the Most High. It's nothing for the Most High to restore your health. He says he giveth health. Go ahead.
Life and blessing.
He gives health, life, and blessing. Read on.
Verse 18.
No, stop right there. Now go back so we understand how important it is to know that regardless of your start, as long as you make the Most High priority and you gain His blessing, you can overcome any obstacle. Now go back to that in Ecclesiastes chapter 33 and read that in verse 16.
I waked up last of all, as one that gathereth after the grape gatherers. By the blessing of the Lord, I profited.
It says, by the blessing of the Lord, I did what?
I profited.
You can still profit from a disadvantaged perspective. You can still profit from a disadvantaged point. You can still prosper and profit even though you've had the worst upbringing and the most neglected lifestyle. Doesn't matter. See, the Most High doesn't look at what you don't have. The Most High He looks at what you do have. And are you making the best of your situation? If everybody decides to make the best of their situation and what the Most High has given them, they can turn lemons into lemonade. Yes, sir.
Based on that point, I've been over here for a year now, and I've been separated from my family for at least almost 2 years. And
you got to speak up so they can hear you.
Now, basically, I've been in here for about a year now.
You've been in this camp for about a year now, right?
I've been in here for a year now. You know
oh, it's a year.
I made a year now. You know what I'm saying?
This month makes a year.
And I was separated from my family for at least a year and some change before coming over here. And in a matter of like 6 to 7 months, the Most High was able to, you know what I'm saying, give me my family back. You know what I'm saying, based off of what I was doing at the moment. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was very difficult for me, you know what I'm saying, mentally. You know, knowing that my family on the other side and I'm over here. But, you know, the amount of sacrifice and the amount of dedication that I gave into this program, the Most High saw that and He was able to bless me to have my family back.
And that's a strong testimony. That's a strong testimony. Because you know how many men need to hear what you just said? You know how many men need to hear what's possible when their families have been stripped away and they've been disconnected from their loved ones? You know how many men need to hear that if I decide to put my faith in the Most High, He can turn my situation around from a negative to a positive? What seems to be impossible? I remember when you came. You showed up and your feet touched the ground when you got out of the car and you were in tears. You showed up in tears. You showed up in tears because you were separated from, not even separated, you had already been separated. Because you were so close to your family, but you couldn't get to them. You was feet from your children and your family, but you couldn't get to them. Yes, sir.
And also another reason why I teared, because the brother Aish, you know what I'm saying, from New Mexico, gave me a pair of shoes when I didn't have shoes, walking on barefoot out there in the streets for about that same amount of time. And those were the same shoes that my older brother had before he committed suicide. The same exact shoes.
So all of this was surreal. Same exact shoes. Out of 1 billion pair of shoes that somebody could give you for free, it was the same shoes. You know, the Most High left something to let you know, I got you. He left a reminder, because that's what them shoes was, that you don't have to go down the same path. It was a reminder that you don't have to give up faith, because your situation failed, your marriage failed, your circumstance failed. You know how many men need to hear that testimony? You know how many men need to hold on to something to where they're losing faith in the Most High? You know how many men on the verge of quitting and giving up? You know how many men it is that need to hear strength? But you know what? When you can look at how good the Most High is, and you can recall it, and you can pass that to somebody else, that's what exhortation is. Give me the definition of exhortation. That's what exhortation is all about. Your testimony exhorts men. Because how many men, and you don't have to raise your hand, how many men are without their children and have no idea when they'll get it back, or without their family and have no idea when it's coming back? That you got children out in the ether.
Right.
You got children in another world, out of state, disconnected, can't even really communicate, not allowed to make phone calls, have no parental supervision, and have no real connection, except for maybe by the grandparents. Maybe by the grandparents. And that's a maybe.
It says exhortation. The act of inciting.
It says the what?
The act of inciting.
Somebody give me 1 Timothy 4:13 real quick before we get that definition.
Do I still hold this?
Yes. Still hold it.
1 Timothy 4 and verse 13. Ready?
Read that.
Till I come, give attendance to reading.
That's why the Most High said, till I come, till I show up, keep reading. That's what the Most High said.
That's actually awesome.
Till I get back, keep reading. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how real this is. Go back to Job 7 and 20 we read earlier. No, I'm sorry. We read Job 19. I want Job 19, or if we didn't read, I want to read it. Job 19, read verse 23 and 24.
Job chapter 19.
Read it loud too. And
Job
then we're going to come
19,
back to where you at in Timothy.
Verse 23.
Read that.
It says, oh, that my words...
Job said, you know what I want? Job said, I want nothing more than my words to be what?
Were now written.
I want my words what?
Written.
I want my words written down. That's what Job said. Little does Job know that we're reading from the book of Job. Little does he know. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Job knew that although he wanted his words written down, that it would be written down. I don't think he knew that. He said what?
It says, oh, that they were printed in a book.
He said, oh, I wish my words were printed in a book as we read the book of Job.
They were.
That's why you should write down. You don't know what the Most High going to do with your words. Most High might write your words down in a book. He said, oh, that my words were printed in a book. Read on.
Verse 24. That they were graven with an iron pen.
He said, I wish that these words that I write was graven and engraved with an iron pen, like a diamond tip pen, cut into stone, permanent. Read.
And lead in the rock forever.
And lead in the rock forever, meaning I want this stamped forever. The words that I write, words that I say, I want this written down and remembered forever. But what is Job? Why does Job want this? Read on.
It says, for I know that my Redeemer liveth.
He said, Job said, because I know that my Redeemer is alive. The reason why Job wanted his words written down is so that you could never say that Job was an unbeliever. That you can never go back and say Job didn't have faith in the Most High. So you can never go back and say Job doubted the Most High. So you can never go back and say Job didn't fear the Most High. Job said, I want this engraved forever so that you know at a later date that what?
It says, and that he shall stand.
No, that my Redeemer liveth, and he shall what?
It says that Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day.
And that the Most High is going to stand at the latter day. Read on.
Upon the earth.
Where?
Upon the earth.
Where?
Upon the earth.
So Job wanted it to be known that I know that Christ and the Most High is going to stand on earth in the last days. So you can count my words and make my words solid. You can put this in writing. That this is guaranteed with what I'm telling you. This is the kind of faith Job had. A lot of us need that faith. A lot of us need that kind of faith to understand that, yes, although I might be catching hell like Job, that's not the end of the situation. Although I might be catching hell like Job, Job lost his family, his cattle, his oxen, his sheep, his mansion, his servants, reputation. Even his friends doubted him.
Yeah.
Even his friends gave him whack counsel. And his woman gave him whack counsel. But Job said, you know what, I want you to know at a later date that you should never give up on the Most High either. He said, I know the Most High is going to stand in the last day on earth. What is he telling you? The Most High is coming back. But he's looking for the faithful. So it don't matter what condition you're in, it's do you believe in the end? That's why Job said, I want this to be noted. And it is noted. Because we're reading about it. Now I'll go back to Timothy chapter 4.
1 Timothy 4,
verse
and
13.
verse 13. Till I come, give attendance to reading.
He said, that's why he said, till I come, give what?
Give attendance to reading.
That's why till Christ come back and stand on this earth like Job talking about, you're supposed to be giving attendance to what?
To reading.
You should be reading the Bible. And solidifying your faith the same way that Job had faith. Just because you're in a bad position or condition doesn't dictate your end. Read on.
To exhortation.
It says you should be giving attendance to reading and what else?
To exhortation.
What's that definition of exhortation?
Exhortation, 828. The form of words intended to incite and encourage.
Your testimonies will do what for other people?
Incite and encourage.
That's why when you got these testimonies of how the Most High has turned your situation around, you need to be telling that. Because people need to hear that. Because there's so many people that lack inspiration. There's so many people that need to hear what you're saying. Because they're on the verge of quitting. They're on the verge of giving up. They don't have rock solid faith. They're at an 800-pound disadvantage in the spirit. Not in the flesh. In the spirit.
Strong's 3874. It says to comfort, consolation.
Yeah, because those words comfort. Those words are what?
Consoling.
Consoling, man. They're comforting. They put people at ease. Because you know what? Although I don't have my children with me, it feels good to know that it's possible through somebody else's testimony, which is inciting me, motivating me, inspiring me, uplifting me, that just because I'm in a bad situation, that doesn't mean that all is lost. And I'll never see them again. And they'll never be with me again. And I'll never be able to hold them again. I'll never be able to love on them again. I'll never be able to teach them and nourish them again. Doesn't mean that. A lot of people need to hear that. That's why Christ said in Matthew chapter 5, he said what? Verse 14.
Matthew 5 and verse 14. It says, ye are the light of the world.
That's why Christ said, you are the light of the world. Read on.
A city that is set on a hill.
Somebody get Luke 18 and 16. Say the same thing. He said, you are the light of the world. You're the city that's set on a hill. Why did the Most High say you're the light of the world and you're a city that's set on a hill? What's the purpose of using that analogy? You're a city that sits on a hill. Why is that important? Everybody sees you. Everybody's supposed to be getting exhortation from your testimony, from the obstacles that you overcame. Come.
It's 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 3 down. It says, blessed be the Most High, even the Father of our Lord Yahushua, the Father of mercies and the power of all comfort, who comforted us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble.
Right. So that's beautiful. So we can be able to comfort them that are in any trouble through exhortation. Go ahead.
By the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of the Most High.
And you know where do we get our comfort from? Scriptures. Gaining the Most High's favor. Having enough faith in Him. Not doubting. Backing up my faith with actions. Making changes. Laying up His words in our mind. And stepping on a little bit of grapes that He gave us to work with. Not looking at where I came from, but look at what I do have. What do I have that I can gain? The Most High gave me enough grapes to make wine out of it. So it's your job to make wine. It's your job to make your situation the best by using what you got to gain his favor and what he gives you. And as long as you get the blessing of the Lord, doesn't matter where you come from. He'll overturn the situation in your favor in the end. You can't lose putting your faith in the Most High and your trust in the Most High. You cannot lose. But in the meantime, while we wait for our situation to change, people get despaired. They lose hope. They get depressed. They don't see no changes. They don't feel comforted. Nothing's ever going to be better. I'm stuck in a rut. No, you're not. You're not stuck in no rut. You're not handicapped forever. No, you're not. That's not what the Most High is doing. Go to that verse in Luke.
God. Luke chapter 18 and verse 16 reads, But Yahushua called them unto him and said, Suffer little children to come unto me.
8 and 16.
Okay, 8 and 16.
Yes, sir.
I don't have to.
Who got it?
Luke chapter 18.
8.
Oh, 8 verse 16. Slock it.
Luke chapter 8 and verse 16.
Can we read it?
Read it.
No man, when he had lighted a candle.
It said, no man when he had lighted. Same thing we read in Matthew chapter 5. No man when he had lighted the candle do what?
Covereth it with a vessel.
You don't hide the light. You don't hide what the Most High has done for you. You don't hide what the Most High has given you as a method of comfort for exhortation for other people. You don't hide your testimony. People need your testimony. They depend on your testimony. They live off your words that you laid up in your heart. And they live off your experiences that you've gained with the Most High. People need that. You don't hide that. Hold that and finish that in Matthew 5. You was in verse 14.
God. Matthew 5 and verse 14. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
Read on.
Verse 15. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel.
You don't hide the light. Read on.
But on a candlestick.
You put it on a candlestick. You put your experiences out in the open. You make it public. You tell people what the Most High has done for you. That's part of your testimony. People need to hear that. That didn't have parents, that was homeless, uneducated, addicted to drugs, foster care, forgotten about, left dead, left for dead, swallowed up in gangs, swallowed up in crime. People need to hear that. Stripped away from their families. People need to hear that. Sick to a death sentence, but they're still alive. People need to hear that. Read.
God. And it giveth light unto all.
And it giveth light to who else?
To all.
The light is meant to be shared. Your experiences is meant to be shared. Your experience, your testimony is meant to be shared and spread to other people. People need to benefit from your testimony. Through your hardships, the fact that you didn't give up on the Most High, and you were able through patience to watch the Most High turn your whole situation around in your favor. Read on.
God, unto all that are in the house.
Other people in the house need that. Don't hide your experiences with the Lord. You should be proclaiming and making public the advantage of what it means to serve the Lord and where you came from. You should have a testimony for everybody that needs to hear it. Because you know what? Ultimately, the Most High gets the glory. That's who gets the glory. The Most High does. Because look at what I've been through, and look at where I was at with the situation I was in. And I never saw or never felt or never known that I would clutch my children and sing them songs, teach them words, read the Bible to them, put them to bed, bathe them, wake them up in the morning, feed them breakfast, and send them off to school. Never thought I'd have that ability ever in my life. But you do. That's why I said, read that, finish that in Luke.
Come. Luke chapter 8 and verse 16. No man, when he hath lighted a candle, covereth it with a vessel.
Go ahead.
Or putteth it under a bed.
Why? Read on.
But setteth it on a candlestick.
For what?
That they which enter
it may see the light.
So anybody that come in this truth, they know what's possible. See, we don't make no empty promises to people. We don't tell people, hey brother, your life is going to change for the better. The Most High is going to bless you with this amount of money, this amount of kids, this amount of wives, this amount of houses, this amount of cars. Man, we don't do all that, man. Can't make no empty promises. Because we don't know what the Most High is going to do. But what we can do is tell you what the Most High has done to other people that's been in this truth, that chooses to occupy their time with His servitude. We can give you their testimony and tell you what's possible, because that's what people need to hear that. They need inspiration. That definition of exhortation, one more time. Y'all can let all that go.
Exhortation, the form of words intended to incite and encourage. It also says, right here, it says, exhortation, this is etymology, to incite by means of argument, appeal, or admonition.
Yep. So, what the Most High is showing us is, this is what it takes.
And then also in Strong's, right here, Strong says, it says, comfort, consolation, entreaty, and then 3870 says, to invite, to invoke, to call near, to comfort, to entreat.
You know, during the pandemic, that Izzachrite brother on the skateboard from California, he was singing that Fleetwood Mac song, right? And he was riding a skateboard and he was drinking that cranberry juice, and he was lip singing. He was just cruising. This was during the pandemic, right? In the worst situation in America, the pandemic, when coronavirus was spreading around, killing everybody, especially in California, Texas, and Florida. This man was cruising to work on a skateboard like nothing around him is crumbling. You know how inspiring that little bitty clip, little TikTok clip that he did was so inspirational that it got millions and millions of views. Just him singing, lip singing the Fleetwood Mac, cruising on a skateboard, drinking cranberry juice. Ocean Spray.
He was doing that.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
He was cruising, bro. But everybody's worried about damn disease, and his brother Izzachrite brother just sipping out. Izzachrite chilling like a bug.
Could have been a bottle of tequila or something else more common, but it was Ocean Spray cranberry juice.
When you read his story, he was living out of a trailer with no electricity, or electricity, no water. He was living out of a trailer with no water, and his 05 truck broke down, so that's why he resorted to skateboarding, and that's how he was getting to work.
Was he here?
No, it was in California.
One of the famous comments on the video is he restored hope to humanity.
He restored hope to humanity.
Yeah, that's what kept getting commented.
One of the famous comments was he restored hope to humanity. You know why? Because no matter how bad things are, it's good to see somebody cruising on a skateboard singing the Fleetwood Mac with Ocean Spray juice in their body. You know, from that video going viral, Ocean Spray brought him a truck to go to work, and it was filled with cranberry juice in the back. They brought him a truck, and also he just made he just got an audition or about to be put on an episode. So now he's actually about to be on TV. He just made it to some film episode, movie episode. I don't know what it is, but on
the sudden, right?
In a sudden, he's now going to be on TV as an actor playing a role in some TV sitcom
He
series.
has his own house now.
Might make a couple million.
Oh yeah, you know what? Just from cruising on a skateboard, not giving in to the disparity that the news was pushing. The news was pushing how many people were dying every day. Always kept going, CNN. Everybody, the death toll for coronavirus. We're at 250,000. We're at 500,000. We hit 1 million now. We're at 1 million here. We're at 1 million in California. 1 million in New York. We're at 1 million. All they kept pushing was the death toll. His brother just cruising, man.
This brother's the job.
You know
I've
what I'm
never
saying?
seen this guy before.
He had hope to humanity. How much more would it be for us to give hope to humanity with the Bible? Yeah, that's him right there. Dog face on, just cruising out. Ocean Spray. No care in the world. You know, so people need to hold on to something, man. They need something to hold on to. They need something to draw from. I don't know his name though.
You can go, listen, say. I can't.
Yeah. But
I see this guy.
Listen, people need inspiration. They need your inspiration. They need your experiences with the Most High. They need you overcoming your strongholds. They need to hear your victories. Whether it's weight loss in the flesh or whether it's overcoming a loss in the spirit, people need to hear your success stories. They need to hear your victories. They need to hear your exchanges that you had with the Most High. How has the Most High interjected himself in your life and helped you overcome obstacles? They need that, man. Our people need that. People need that. All right. Yeah. So don't hide what the Most High is giving you. Right? The Most High is bringing us all in here to be able to tell a story to uplift somebody else. He says, but until Christ comes back, he said, give attendance to reading, exhortation, and doctrine. Doctrine is teaching. So in the meantime, until Christ returns, everybody should be making a strong commitment to laying up the words of the Most High in their mind. All right? And with that, we're going to go ahead and say shalom. It's already 10:20.
Shalom.
All right, shalom.
Stanza here?
Yeah, stanza. All right, shalom, Israel. The Water for Watching. We got class coming again on Friday. The Water for Watching. Shalom, Israel.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.